Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. My name is Patrick. You're listening to episode 57. I'm joined by the full gang, Saif, Steve, and Josh. Say hi, everyone.
Everything's on fire.
Hello, everything's underwater.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything might be on fire for you, but I get to record from the secret underwater level this week due to the flooding in Auckland. Fun times.
Are you trying to beat Josh's record?
Of
From the last time he was in the underwater level. You gotta beat his time.
I thought you were talking about the most amount of time that he could spend floating face down in a pool before the lifeguards decided to pull him out, which I think was like an hour.
Does it count that I was legally dead?
Just like that guy's wife.
Hey.
Wow. Anyway, really don't know how to segue out of that one. Thanks for that, Steve.
You're welcome.
Other than things being on fire or underwater, how have people been?
Yeah, okay, not all at once.
No, I've been good. I just came back from a trip down south with the fellas, for a bit of a boys' trip, as they call them.
Who calls them that?
We probably had the most bachelor fucking dinner while we were down there. Literally, 3 frozen pizzas from Woolworths and like a box of ice cream each.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Arguably, probably better than cup noodles.
I don't know. We had to put the pizzas back in because when we took them out the first time, they were still frozen in the middle.
If you didn't eat them while they were still half frozen in the middle, is it really not a bachelor dinner?
Yeah. It was too cold, so we're like, no, we can do it. We're just chuck it back. Yeah, so we had Family Guy, pizzas, beers, and ice cream.
Nice.
It reminds me of something that I did at uni, where it was like an event between my uni and Canterbury Uni, which is several hours drive away. So we met in the middle of fucking nowhere, and in the depths of winter as well, where it was so cold that all of the frozen shit we bought, we just left in our cars.
Jesus Christ.
That would never work in Australia.
Pizza. Just stacks of frozen pizza in the back of someone's car. We all just come out. We're just like, oh, fuck yeah.
You could leave it in the back of a car in Australia in winter and it would be cooked when you got it out. It wouldn't be frozen.
You ever tried it with raw chicken?
Oh.
Yeah, man.
You gotta get that salmon.
Better than that pink chicken, bro.
Yeah, you gotta get that salmon of the Ella.
That chicken sashimi. Anyway, why don't we jump straight into Run the Lunch for this week? Seth, what have you been up to this week?
I've been moving this week, so I'm going to talk about a game I played last year, which was Sackboy's Big Adventure.
Moving and shaking?
That's not what you have on the docket at all. You've gaslit us.
What do I have on the docket? Oh, I've got Crisis Core on the docket. Yeah, okay, I'll talk about Crisis Core instead.
No, I want you to talk about both of them at the same time.
No, well, okay, actually, you know what? I'm with Steve. Talk about both at the same time.
All right.
Every second word should be the opposite one.
Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII is a platformer that stars Sackboy.
Is it Cloud Sack?
The way that it works is if you listen to this recording winding forwards, you'll hear him talk about Crisis Core. But if you play it in reverse, he'll talk about Sackboy's Big Adventure.
Oh, can we do that one time? I don't know how to, but can we do that?
That would take so much coordination you would not believe.
I reckon we can do it. We're a hearty team.
We can't even start on time. I don't know.
The audience isn't meant to know that.
They know now.
The audience would. Well, how hard can it be? Like, we'll start off with the train, see how we can get that together, and then try something more advanced like that. Guy's life.
I feel like Steve's bloody sub quest this episode is just to drop as many either train jokes or that guy's dead wife jokes. Currently the count's at I think 2, but follow along at home. And I don't know how this will go, but take a drink every time he says one. And if you're still conscious at the end of the podcast, let us know.
Just like that guy's wife.
Oh my god.
Okay, all right. We had a good laugh. We had good laughs about that guy's wife. Let's video games.
Let's let her rest in peace. Josh, what have you been up
to? Sorry, fucking dying. You might need to cut that.
Sorry, it wasn't that funny.
No, I just fucking choked on. I was trying to drink water and then I started to try and talk and it just did not work. So
that's like the peakable of Auckland.
Well,
Sorry.
Bro, people died.
Fucking hell, Steven. Jesus.
All right. I'll stop.
Trains don't run underwater.
Trains don't run at all.
There was a fucked video. There was a fucked video of people just on a bus, and the bus just starts filling up with water.
Oh fuck!
At what point is it a boat then?
It just doesn't float. So.
Yeah. Steve, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. The bus didn't float.
It became a shipwreck.
It got busted.
Hey. What was the question? What was I doing this week? I've been playing with my Steam Deck. I've played a little bit of War Thunder, and yeah, pretty much only the Steam Deck.
Been leaking any his classified documents?
Oh my god, Seth, you can't say leak. I'm in the middle of a flood, my man.
No.
War Thunder. Is Thunder close enough to flooding or nah?
Well, I mean, I did get an Amber Alert for severe thunderstorms for the next, 12 hours, so we'll see how that goes.
It's a lightning that gets you.
But
exactly.
the intense downpours that are expected to come along with it might be the ones that hurt.
Maybe, but that's just bad wording, ain't it?
It is what it is. Steve, what are you up to this week?
Me, what have I been doing? I finished Tunic up last week. I got it 100% because I love me some gamer scores and watching some videos on how to do that. Big shout out to Macca's Guides for providing videos on some of those secrets. But yeah, no, Tunic.
I didn't know they did guides. Do they come with the Happy Meals?
Macca's, M-A-K-A. It took me a bit too long to be like, the fuck are you talking about?
Fuck the fun, bro. You said Macca's. That's Australian slang.
Yeah, but it's like Macca, and it's like the ownership. But yeah, Tunic. Been playing that. Finished it. Good game.
Cool. Thanks for asking, have watched the first two episodes of...
Other than learning how to breathe underwater.
How's the guild to lung transplant going?
Is that a Final Fantasy joke?
That was a Futurama reference. Yeah.
I thought that was a Simpsons reference because the old man Gil.
Why couldn't she be the other mermaid with the fish on top and the woman on bottom?
That's a good episode. I have watched the first two episodes, at least as of right now, the only two episodes of Last of Us, the TV show. I have thoughts. We'll talk about that. Finished Unbound. Have more thoughts about that. Won't spend too long, but just want to give a couple quick updates on that. And I have progressed through Ragnarok, and will just give a little taster, mainly to Seth, as to where I'm up to prepare for what will probably be a banger of a conversation sometime in the future. So, cool. I guess that's the agenda for today. Let's see how we go. Might as well just do the Ragnarok update now, get that out of the way. So I've been playing a bit of Ragnarok recently. I am
it's
rather
ironic
just...
that you're playing Ragnarok while Ragnarok is actively happening to Hogwarts. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Come on.
How long were you sitting on that one for?
I wasn't. It just occurred to me.
That's pretty clever. But
the other good ones have been Avatar 2: The Way of Water with pictures of Auckland. Yeah. Thanks TikTok. Really love that. Which was funny because without even seeing the TikTok video, I thought of that while bloody trudging through shin deep water to and from my Toyota dealership to drop my car off for a service. Just picked the best timing. I'm convinced that God picks favorites and it's never me. Anyway,
were you there for Toyota-thon?
Listen, we have a pretty good thing going on for Ford Truck Month. I don't want to risk that.
Well, is it Ford Truck Month's been over for 6 months now?
It's like 6 months,
I think it's a Toyota fun at the moment. Thanks, Toyota, for sponsoring this podcast.
No, I don't, because if we take the Toyota one, what's going to happen when Ford Truck Month comes around again?
Well, what I'm saying is that Honda makes boat engines, so you may want to go Honda.
What's that? Wow. Well, have I got a car for you?
Volkswagen.
Tesla.
Tesla.
Patrick was picking up what I was putting down.
Yeah, I don't get that reference. But yeah, the Ragnarok update. Where are we? I'm lost. I have no clue where we are anymore. Ragnarok. What's going on?
Underwater, my man. Yeah. So I'm just about to leave. I think it's Jotunheim. Angraboda's treehouse.
Oh, okay.
I've just done. Or as I like to call it, Happy Fun Adventure Time with Tom Holland and Zendaya.
That is the part where I got a lot of the Stranger Things pacing vibes.
With Tom Holland and Zendaya, are they both in that game?
No, they're not, but
the Spider-Man and someone else.
But they could be.
They could be. They could be those characters in the TV remake version.
Oh, please no.
Was playing it through with Tom, and there was just a moment where we're sitting on the back of Yala, this big bloody. All I could think of was Duramboros. I've been playing way too much Monster Hunter. Sitting on the back of Yala. And there was just this moment, and I went, "Holy shit! Now I can't unsee Tom Holland and Zendaya." And so naturally, I ask, "Hey Tom, do you want me to ruin the rest of the sequence for you?" He goes, "How?" it's Tom Holland and Zendaya sitting on the back of Yala, and he went, "Damn it!" So that's where I'm up to. No idea how far through the game that is. Also had the. I don't think this is a spoiler because it was in the donkey video, but as soon as I found the squirrel sitting by a chime, I went, I know what I must do.
Yep. Fun facts, he's voiced by ProZD.
Get fucked, really?
No way.
ProZD?
No way.
He does a fantastic job as well. I'm so glad he's getting put into things.
Shit. That is fantastic.
You can really hear when you get to the end of the chime interaction.
Yeah, no, that makes sense now. That like thinking back through that. Oh man,
who on earth is ProZD?
That's not a common voice that he does.
ProZD is the guy that was doing voice acting videos on TikTok and what was the one that died? Vine. And he's also on YouTube now.
I guarantee you've seen a video of his.
Yeah, he's very good.
Actually, no, I've posted several videos. It's he's also really big into like card games and things.
Yeah.
So any short clip of voice acting to do with cards, what was the line? Like if you collect 3 cheeses, you turn one of them into a cheese factory, and then you can tap that twice, and the farmer comes along. Yeah, that's ProZD.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, holy shit! All right, newfound respect for the squirrel. Can't wait to go annoy the shit out of him with chimes again in future. Anyway, yeah, that's the Ragnarok update. Quick, little 5-minute excursion. But enjoying it. I'm not going to give any thoughts about it now. But that's where I'm up to. So if you haven't played it, I guess look forward to however much longer it'll be before I finish the game.
I will see you in 2 months.
Excellent. Right, next up, why don't we have Josh talk about the Steam Deck?
Okay.
The Deck of Steam.
Yeah, so obviously I am Australian, hello, and it's not really available in Australia right now, so it's a great
so you bought
import.
yourself a Switch?
A Switch! And unironically, I think about it as a Switch sometimes, and it bothers me. You guys infected my brain, especially because I was like setting up the totally legal Switch emulator, and I'm like, oh look, it's a Switch, and I was like, oh damn it!
Hey, it's legal to have a Switch emulator. It's just illegal to shill ROMs.
That's true.
Anytime you say it, you have to pay me royalties.
I haven't even installed a ROM yet. I just wanted to make sure it worked.
Well, you gotta have a ROM to make sure it works.
Well, it installed fine and everything, and the actual emulation program launched, so I assume it's working. But anyway, Steam Deck. So great import. So don't go looking for it in Australia, but you can find it at like Catch of the Day, Kogan, various other places. Obviously, if you're in America, you can get it regular
Didn't Harvey Norman
through Steam.
also offer to do it?
I don't know. I don't buy anything from Harvey Norman, man.
Jerry Harvey deserves the cross.
It was either Harvey Norman or Dick Smith.
Honestly, Dick Smith will probably be the one because Kogan bought them.
Yeah, so it was probably Dick Smith.
That's right, they did too.
Jerry Harvey probably should not be mentioned on this podcast. Anyway.
I mean, I can bleep out his name now that I know it was a good old Dick and not him.
He won't listen to it anyway. He hates the internet. Anyway, I bought it, and it arrived after about a week after some shipping complications, but it got here, and oh man, the presentation in the box is fucking excellent. Like, I have the one other product that Valve did as well, which is the Index, the VR, and the Index like packaging and everything was phenomenal. But the Steam Deck is just like super simple and just comes in this small little box, comes with the charger, but then it all looks really nice as well. And then it comes in like its own little like a carrying case for it, and you get a different one depending if it's the 512 gig or the regular models, the 64 or 256.
Oh, are the other models bigger?
They're the same, but basically there's obviously the different sizes for the storage. The 64 gig has EMC storage. EMC is that what it is?
I don't know what that word means.
I remember what it is. It's just slow flash memory. I always ignore it when I see it. But then the others have 2 solid states, and you can add solid state to all of them anyway. The M.2 drive. And the 512 gig comes with like an anti-glare screen. So it's less like if you can take it outside, and if the sun's shining on it, you can actually see what you're doing, kind of. Okay. A lot better than you can see the other one.
So does that mean you're immune to paralysis, or is glare the speed drop? I forget which. Glare
is paralysis, which inflicts a speed drop. So both.
True. So that's the slow flash memory then.
Well, that's the EMC, whatever it is. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, that'd be that one. But anyway, the anti-glare model is the one I got with. EMMC, that's what it is. EMMC, yeah, I don't remember what it stands for either. But it's slow as shit storage. I don't really like it. It's gotten better over the years, but I saw that and I was like, never in a million years. Plus, it's 64 gigs
is tiny.
Like the first game I installed was bigger than 64 gigs.
So now that we've been talking about this for nearly 3.5 minutes, other than the box, what's the device itself like?
So the device itself is, honestly, it's bigger than you would think. It's lighter than you would think. And honestly, it just runs things better than you would think. Like, it's probably about the size of
That's what my boss says about me at work.
It's about the size of a keyboard if you take off the numpad, which is, like, honestly pretty massive. You wouldn't expect it to be that big.
Oh, shit.
It's pretty big. It heats up a little bit when you're running some like good games, but the heat never reaches the grips, which is what I was concerned about. You just feel it if you're really like pressing your fingers on the back or something, or you've got like you're feeling it from the fan. So it's actually comfortable to play as well, and ergonomically, it's just comfortable to hold. I feel like if you had smaller hands, it might not be as comfortable to hold, but like for like I'm 5'11", average kind of size. Yeah, well, I'm a pretty average size human, and it's pretty comfortable.
I mean, given he has a massive penis, he does have massive hands.
I wish.
Shit, I said it out loud. No, that wasn't funny at all. Just like that guy's blood.
Should know. Yeah.
It's too bad Josh never got over the massive feet, though.
Oh, god damn it.
Got it.
This. I don't want to play anymore.
Oh, cool. Can I have the Steam Deck then?
No.
Pat with the setup, Seth with the spike.
So the actual device itself, for people that don't know, it runs Linux. It's like basically an edited image that Valve put out for SteamOS, and it runs just on top of Linux as an actual desktop. So you have your main SteamOS that it boots into, and you can download all your Steam games. You can, check your achievements, message people, do everything you would do on Steam. But you also have the main desktop, which is the main reason I wanted it. And going into it, you can just straight up install things like Microsoft Edge. You can install Discord, Spotify, whatever. You can install emulation packs. Because you can install Edge, you can run Game Pass Remote on it. You can run an application that I can't remember the name of it because it's a homebrew one right now. But it basically does Sony Remote Play as well. And then you can add those into your SteamOS like as a non-Steam game, so that anything you're doing, you can just launch via your main launcher. It ends up being like this big emulation station that you can just run anything you want through, and it's fucking excellent. Everything I've tried to run just runs pretty much perfect on it. The only thing I've not really been able to run were games that I've specifically gone, it's probably not going to work, and it says it's not compatible with Steam Deck. And probably 70% of those worked anyway, and only the 30% of ones where it's like you need a keyboard really to actually interact with it, or it's just way too graphically intensive, are the only ones that really didn't run. So I'm
one of the
really
games
happy
I've
with
seen
it.
that is like very me core and not you core is that Sonic Generations has problems on the Steam Deck. At least when it launched.
Oh, Sonic Generations,
no.
Man, you got bigger problems than that on Steam Deck.
I was gonna
If
say
you're playing that.
Sonic Generations is great. It was like the last good Sonic game for a long time.
Rats, you looped back around and implied Sonic Frontiers is good. But can you just, in those type of games that are graphically intense, is it as simple as just sort of like turning the graphics down to low?
So yes and no. If it's purely graphics, you can pretty much get away with it. But if it's CPU intensive as well, it struggles. Because it's running the CPU and the APU in the same thing, you only have so much power, and you only have so much power draw. So you're really running out of processing power on anything like, so for example, you can run World of Warcraft on it, and it does work, and it's not officially working. But the moment you get into something where there's a lot of effects and a lot of people around and a lot of processing power, it won't work. It'll just crash.
Yeah, shit's the
Oh
bed,
man,
yeah.
I can't wait to go try Final Fantasy 14 on it and go to the big not the market board, the casino.
Yeah.
When they do the number roll.
I don't
because
know
all the
how that
fucking
would
white
go.
mages just sit there doing holy over and over again.
Final Fantasy 14, I'm pretty sure was listed as a not compatible, but I'll have to go double check it. Most of those are.
I'm pretty sure I've seen people make it work.
You can make most things work. There's a lot of like things. So, for example, Monster Hunter Stories when it's not going to work, and then you check Proton DB because Proton is like a layer that sits on top of Unix, so that you can run these games, and it says, "Oh, it works perfect," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll load it up. I'll give it a go. I'll buy it. It's $30."
So one of those type of things that the developers haven't probably tested out the Steam Deck.
Yeah. So what it was,
But other people probably have.
So Steam does basic checks on things like, does it need keyboard support? Does it have the right resolution support because it runs 1200 by 800? Does it have like, if your resolution's that small, is it still visible on this screen? Does it have gamepad support? Does it have whatever? And the reason why Monster Hunter Stories 2 was listed as not working is because it required keyboard support, which is the dumbest reason, because the only time you're ever using the keyboard is to type in your name at the start of the game.
Yeah, type in your name at the start, yep.
So it says...
Fantastic.
Wait, not if... But you don't edit the names of all of your monsters?
No.
God, no.
I don't even nickname my
Disgusting.
Pokemon.
Do you, Pat?
But, well, I mean... The eggs that come through as heavier than normal, I named the monsters Heavy Specimen.
Hey.
I'm on it.
Especially the Aptonos.
The Aptonos,
I just released them.
Um,
But I just the Steam Deck, because my probably big, because I eventually I will when my gaming laptop in quotation marks decides to
Go to the farm.
go to the farm
go visit
upstage
that
at
guy's
the bed.
wife.
Run the chain, run the big chain in the sky. My biggest thing
Go
is
to Auckland.
My biggest thing is I'd probably do just like what I do with the Switch is probably an 80-20 split. 80% plugged in to like a dock of some description, 20% when I go away on trips or something. Do you have a dock that plugs into your TV or something, or are you completely using it handheld?
I primarily use it handheld, but I do have a docking station, quote unquote, that is literally just a USB-C hub for my MacBook. And because the Steam Deck's USB-C, it just works. So my hub's got like HDMI, it's got USB ports, blah, 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 blah. That's pretty much the dock. And it was like $30. So plugging that into the TV works perfectly fine.
So in theory, could you put it into the Switch dock?
I don't think so. It would not
The dimensions.
fit. If you butchered a Steam
It'd
Deck
be too thick.
and put it upside down, you could make it. You could probably make it
You
work.
could do it on a modified Switch dock.
Yeah, I mean, a Switch dock is just a USB-C
Yeah, it's just a
dock.
USB-C hub, really.
I bought like a quote-unquote travel Switch dock, which is just a USB-C to HDMI, another USB-C for like external charging, and a USB cable. So it's just a dock.
It's just a dock, yeah. Like, even if I plug my Switch into like my old HP laptop dock, it used to work. So like they're all pretty much the same. So it works perfectly fine. Plugging it in, the only real complaint I have is that the emulated games I was running on the TV just did not work at 55 inches. Pokemon at 55 inches does not look good.
Well, is it still keeping the 1200 by 800?
You can set an external resolution to make it bigger, but it will keep that same aspect ratio unless you're changing the aspect ratio in the game. So like it'll run the 1200 by 800, but you can adjust it. But obviously, the more that you turn that up, the harder that Steam Deck is going to struggle. So everything's pretty much meant to run at the 1200 by 800. In saying that, it looks fine. Like honestly, the screen it's not an OLED screen, but it's an IPS screen, and the colors could use a little bit of work. It's not saturated enough for my liking. But the actual like quality of the screen and the issues I thought I'd have with the resolution, I just don't have. They just don't exist. Like for the 7-inch size of the screen that it is, it's perfectly fine. It works fucking really well. Really, really well. And I've played, I don't know, 30 or 40 games on it, just testing various bits and pieces. And the only thing I couldn't get to run was like really, really, really CPU intensive games, or games that I know won't work because of anti-cheat, or they won't work because of like a certain launches that need to run through Windows, which you can get those around. Like you can get around those, but really it's like I don't really find a need to. So most of the things I've played on it have just been emulated, so it's excellent. Can't complain. If you have a chance to pick one up for cheap, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, so that's going to be the question. So they are, well, at least compared to a Switch, very expensive.
Yeah,
at least
how much you pay
prices.
for yours? I didn't even know the caveat being a little asterisk you see down the corner is that you did get a grey import, so you probably could assume you probably paid a little bit more.
Yeah, I paid a little bit more than you would expect.
Yeah, and you run the gauntlet of it just not showing up, or it shows up and it's literally just Anthrax.
Considering I bought it from Catch, which is a very major retailer in Australia, I wasn't too concerned about Anthrax. But
he is now.
They nearly sent me two by mistake. So
I love the idea of this like beautifully packaged Switch Steam Deck. And Josh is like, "Oh my god, the packaging is phenomenal. You open it, it's just glitter. It's just a Mark Rober glitter bomb.
Amazing! That'd be so good."
Just got dick in a box.
Then you find out I've been doing like call scams.
But it's his dick.
Justin Roiland moment.
Damn it. Justin Roiland moment. That guy's like,
was that a Justin Roiland moment?
I don't know, man.
He didn't abuse any women.
What? Debatable.
Yeah, you did. Look, as much as I want to keep talking about that, how much did you pay for it?
So I paid $13.30, I think it was Australian total, including shipping.
Fucking hell.
Which is pretty expensive, but like when you think about it, like the OLED Switch is like what $550 retail, I think, at the moment, or $500. Like so you can double that.
Yeah, less than half price.
Yeah, it's less than half the price, but you double that and add a little bit. So you can get a 64 gig model. I think it was about $800 or $900. So you could double that, get
bad.
that. The Switch has 32 gig of install storage, and you still have to buy an SD card for that. So you take out, you can add an SD card to the Steam Deck as well. So if you take out that as a factor,
do you really need to buy a SD card for
yes,
Elite games?
If you have digital games, yes.
Yeah,
sounds like a digital problem.
Game, yeah, delete the. Okay, we're not getting into this physical. But like, just play a game, finish it, delete it off the Switch.
Actually, no. You know what? I'm on Steve's side here. You don't need the memory card because you buy physical, because then you get to taste the cartridges before you play them.
True.
You know what? I regret bringing this up.
But like comparatively to the Switch, like I'll use my Switch to play like a Pokemon game, or I'll use my Switch to play, I don't know, what else is fucking on Switch that I'll play? Mario-based games. Like that's pretty much it. Whereas this, I can just take my entire Steam library with me, and if I want a computer, it's still a computer. I can still run whatever I want on it.
Watch it run Scarlet Violet at 60.
It probably would. It's way more powerful than the Switch will ever be.
I'm sad now. I'm crying.
Yeah.
See, well, and that's the thing. That's a lot of the arguments that I've sort of been seeing online. It's like it is a portable PC Switch.
It is.
Like
it's literally just a PC.
It's arguably what everybody would want in a generation, the next generation console, whether it be from Nintendo or Xbox or a weird hybrid type of thing. Because everybody's going digital, something like this that you can literally plug into your TV quite easily, or literally take it with you on the go. We're sort of in that zone, and that does feel like what the Steam Deck is trying to do.
Yeah. And
that is why I wouldn't pay that much money for it, because as everybody knows in this podcast, I'm a very big fan of the Xbox Sex, just like this guy's wife. So a lot of my Steam games are games from like 10, 15 years ago, and I've sort of really stopped looking
just like your sense of humor.
Okay, that's funny. And a lot of my Steam library is filled up with games that are either aren't available on Xbox, or just you need a keyboard and mouse to play it better, like Kerbal Space Program or something like that.
So it does have like the ability to bring up a keyboard, and you can remap every single one of the controls. And considering you've got 4 face buttons, 4 D-pad, the two like thumbsticks, and the touchpads that can be used in 4 directions, as well as you can bind each direction as another button. Plus, you've got the 4 buttons on the back. You have a lot to work with. So you can actually set up, and there's community layouts for a whole bunch of games. Like you'll load up a game and they'll be like, hey, here's a community layout for this if you want to try this control scheme that someone else has made for it.
Oh,
so
okay, that's pretty sick.
So even if I load up like a ROM, like if I load up like Fire Red or something, and someone's like, hey, here's a Fire Red layout, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So it'll have like fast forward and everything bound to the buttons and whatnot.
I was going to say, a fast forward, like, bloody, god damn it, you threw me off topic. The community layout for a bloody Fire Red GBA game.
No, it's
no, that's what I'm wondering. It's like if the reason that you're trying to run a 15, maybe even older than that, year-old ROM that has GBA controls on a Steam Deck, and you're like, fuck, if only I knew how to bind these buttons.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
So it's laid out.
Maybe you should send the Steam Deck to your favorite podcast host instead.
Obviously.
That's all I'm saying.
No, it's laid out like an Xbox or a like a PlayStation kind of control. So you have your X as like your select as your bottom button, and then your back button is your top right. But obviously on Game Boy, all those buttons are reversed, and your X and Y are reversed. So those layouts will just solve those issues as well, really quickly for you as well. So there's a whole bunch of really cool things with it, and they're adding new stuff every day. Honestly, it's freaking cool. They're even adding ray tracing slowly, so that's just nuts, honestly, on this tiny little handheld.
It's good that Ray's being kept in work.
Yeah.
Shame he can only trace.
Yeah, but no, it's like I would highly recommend it. I think it's definitely my favorite thing that I've picked up this year. I find myself just being like, oh, like stuff like Slay the Spire. Like I want to sit down and play that at my desk, but I don't want to play it at my desk.
Do it.
That's the thing, right? There's a whole bunch of games like that where I can just pick it up and just play it on the Steam Deck, and it's just convenient. Console titles, basically, for the Switch without me having to... not for the Switch, sorry, for the Steam Deck. Without me having to sit in front of a TV or a desk, I can just lay in bed, or I can take it on a train or a bus, and all of it will run perfectly fine. Like, it's...
Oh no, he said train. Steve, run.
Just like that guy's wife.
I can take it to Auckland, to the pool.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, but no, it's really good. I don't really have too much more to say about it, but like, I guess I can give more impressions after like 6 months or something I've had it for, and if I still use it, which is my big concern.
If it doesn't break like the index.
Oh, please don't.
No, I was thinking, watch Josh turn into Scarlet Violet Round 2. First impressions, holy shit, this is amazing. Game of the year, favorite thing I picked up. And then like another couple weeks, fucking hate this. absolute trash fire. Look, really regret.
If I'm playing it on the Steam Deck and it doesn't lag like oh shit, maybe it'll be good.
Yeah, man. Fair enough. Cool. Thank you for that, Josh. And holy shit, bang on 20 minutes. All right. Right. Steve, tell us about Tunic.
Okay, so Tunic is it's
a garment that you wear on your chest.
Yeah, it's a garment you wear on your chest. Link from The Legend of Zelda wears one. But the video game Tunic, it came out last year, roughly, I think it was like April, maybe halfway through. I don't know. But it's on Game Pass, which is why I played it over the break, and a lot of the people that review games talking about it in their top 10 games. So I decided to pick it up, and I checked it on how long to beat, and it's only like 10 to 12 hours long. So I'm like, yeah, cool, I'll play that over the holiday break and see how good it is. So the best way I can describe this game is if the old school Zelda games and like the Souls combat sort of system got together and had a baby, got rid of the baby because they couldn't raise it, because they had it a bit too early, they had their other life to live. And they gave it to an indie developer, Did they have
it out of wedlock?
Yeah, sure, why not? It was like a one-night stand type of thing. And they've given it to
guys,
an indie
I'm having
developer.
flashbacks of the Game of the Year episode.
Yep, that's how I described it then, and I'm describing it again like that now.
But I think Patrick made the exact same joke too.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Did I?
Piece of shit. And then the indie developer raised this baby Tunic up and poured its love and soul into it, and that's sort of where it got...
And stripped it of its language.
Yeah, essentially. So the basic premise of Tunic is that
the game freaked it.
Not really. So the basic premise of Tunic is you're like a little fox creature that ends up on this land, and you're sort of like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? And the game doesn't really tell you what you're there to do. There's an instruction booklet that you collect in the game, like those old school, like 90s, early 2000s instruction booklets that would come with the game, that would tell you the plot of the game, the controls, different areas, have maps in there and all that kind of stuff. But the pages of the instruction manual you collect in the game, and you can sort of use that as a point of reference. And
that's actually such a cool idea.
It is
I
pretty
love
cool.
that so much.
It is a very, very cool idea. And like, it's sort of, as you find pages, it's like, oh, cool. Like, I've just picked up some bombs. Oh, look, I've gotten the page for a bomb. That's pretty cool. I've just, in the first like hour or so, you pick up a page and it's like, okay, I have to go and ring the 2 bells. And then you sort of, after you ring the 2 bells, you find a page and it's like, oh, okay, like now I've got to collect sort of 3 things to release something, release another spirit. And then as you sort of go and do it, the more you play, the more you gain these instruction booklets. The sort of game is telling you how to play, but then at the same time, you're not limited in, you can do things before you find the instruction booklet for it. So one of the techniques you can do is you can go straight from a roll in, because of course it's got iframes and rolls because it's the Soulsborne type of combat type of stuff. You can do like a roll, and then straight out of a roll you can do an attack, and it's really good because you get the iframes then an attack, and the game doesn't tell you until like about halfway through the game, but you can still do that before you got the instruction booklet. It's sort of like a trial and error type of thing. And because a lot of this game is, it's not telling you what to do, it's sort of like a you're in an area, go explore type of thing. It's really sort of up to you, and sort of you have to, the player itself has to put in the work to find all the secrets, work out where to go, because the instruction booklets it's not like saying, oh, you have to ring both of these bells in 2 areas. It says that there's like it's like a picture of 2 bells, one in the east, one in the west, and it says like ring these, and it points an arrow, so you can sort of like work it out. Like it's not giving clear instructions, but it is giving picture instructions, if that makes sense. And I realize I'm probably describing this really bad, but that's because Tunic is such a visual type of game. It shows you things, and then by showing you can work out what to do and where you have to go. There are, as I said before, there are pieces of the instruction booklet that are maps, and sometimes you'll get map pieces that are not, that you won't encounter for another 6 or 7 hours. But if you're in one of those areas and you open up the instruction booklet, it'll have like a picture of you on the map and where you relate to the map, which is like really cool and handy. And the game doesn't tell you it's going to do that. It's sort of like oh, you've entered into the well. Oh, wait a minute, I've got my instruction booklet. I remember I've got a map of the well. Let me look at that. And when you look at it, it's like, oh, look, there's a little picture of a little fox. That's me. And you can sort of track your way through, and you can find secrets that way. It's really interesting, and it's such a good way for game presentation. Like it is the game telling you or giving hints to what you can and can't do without giving you the answer. And you do feel 1,000 times smarter because the game is like drip feeding you hints. And then it's like, oh yeah, I've got these 3 or 4 clues and I can put them together, and this is what I have to do next, or where I have to go. And that's really cool. It makes you feel very smart.
So I got a question for you on that before we move on. So I played the first couple of hours, right? And it's very like
on your Steam Deck.
Some of it on my Steam Deck, yeah. But it's very like old school Zelda, like what you're saying, right? It's very Zelda based. But to me, so a friend of mine asked me, would I like the game? And I know for a fact he hasn't played any of those old style games like Zelda and stuff like that. And I was like, well, do you like a game not giving you specific direction? You have to sort of figure stuff out on your own. And I sort of likened it to like the early Zelda games, because obviously it takes a lot of inspiration from that. And he went, oh, I don't think I would like it. And it sort of made me think, if I hadn't played those sort of games as a kid, do you think it would still hold up today? Like if you'd never picked up one of those kind of games and you went, oh, I picked up Tunic, I don't know what to expect. I'm used to games telling me what to do, where to go, how to do things. Do you think you would enjoy it the same?
So my big answer to that is I fucking hated those old school Zelda games. because it literally but then at the same point, it tells you nothing, but at the same time, and maybe this is because I got it through the Nintendo 3DS Ambassador program. Remember that?
Yeah, I did. I was part of that.
Yeah, and I get the feeling there might have been an instruction booklet for the first 2 Zelda games.
There was, and I think you got a map with the first
did you?
one.
Oh, that would have made the game so
or,
much
it wasn't in Nintendo Power or something.
Oh.
Yeah, from my understanding, it was like that would have been made the game a lot more accessible. But going into that game blind, like it literally drops you in there, and it's like all about.
Yeah, here's your sword.
And it's like I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know where to go. Yeah. I don't know what all these items do. It doesn't explain anything, and that's frustrating as all hell.
So Tunic is a little bit more forgiving than that.
It's a little bit more forgiving because it's got those instruction manual pages. But then at the same time, if you like at one point of the game, I missed a page, and I'm like, I had no clue what to do. I didn't know what was going on because in one of the areas I was going in, it literally just drains your health.
Oh.
Like it'll put you onto one, and then and I'm like, I've got 1 HP. Like, what the fuck is going on? I can't run the gauntlet because the area is a bit bigger than normal. I can't do this. And I backtracked. But then
true.
Yeah, true. They filtered, and I eventually did Ooga Booga brute force it to get to the next sort of checkpoint to heal.
So proud of you.
But it was just it literally probably put another 2.5, 3 hours into the game, and I was like very close to like looking up a guide for it because I'm like the game like I must have missed something. But because I'm stubborn and I was like, I don't need to go back. I'll just get good. So after many fucking times dying, I eventually got good and literally just power ran it. But then as I was sort of backtracking for something else, I found a piece of the instruction manual and it says like, it told me the item I need to use to avoid that. And I'm like, oh.
That would have been useful 3 hours ago.
Literally, yeah. When I found it, I'm like, well, I didn't even need to go to that area anymore. So I didn't need the thing. And that was a little bit frustrating. And I sort of do take the point that it was my fault for missing the instruction sort of piece. But then at the same time, if it was something that crucial, it should have been in a part that like I couldn't have missed.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's it sort of skirts that line of like it wants you to explore everything. Like, and that's probably a bit of the complication with it is I can't remember if I said it before, but it's got an isometric view. It is up on that angle.
You definitely did not.
Oh, so yeah, it's an isometric view. It's sort of got that shitty camera angle, and it hides probably I'd say about 40 or 50% of its secrets are hidden because of the isometric view. To the point, like after about a couple of hours, you're like, okay. I'm just start running into walls, and with anything I can't see where a wall is, that's where I'm running.
Yeah.
Yep. If I can't see it, there's a path around there. Let's just assume. Oh, look, 90% of the time there was a path around.
Yep.
There. Yeah, but you don't get that until about 3 or 4 hours in, and maybe that's just because I've played a couple of isometric games before. I knew to look for those, but if I had come into this blind. Or if I hadn't played that many isometric games before, I'd be like, well, the camera hasn't pointed it this way. I can't, if I can't see it, I can't go there. I wouldn't be able to do it. And that would probably hinder a lot of the process.
Yeah. Let me put it another way, right? Like if you were a modern child today and you were playing games, like if you were like, let's say like 8 or something, right? Do you think you could pick this up and embrace it the same way that people would have picked up Zelda? Or do you think they would go back to something, Fortnite, God of War, whatever happens to be the flavor of the month?
Going for the Minecraft.
Yeah, they're going for the mines. Do you think it will hold up, or do you think it's targeted towards our age of audience?
It definitely is targeted towards our age, but not for the reasons you think. And I think it's because back when like the first Zelda's games came out, like you would have had like what 3 or 4 games in total.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't think that
it's hard. It's a hard thing to say. Like if because when I was growing up, my parents every school holidays were like, you get 1 game and that's all you're getting. And if I picked this, I would have stuck with it until I finished it
and then played it again.
Well, I might have gone back for a couple of playthroughs later on, like a couple of years later. But if I had like 3 or 4 games at the same time and I got this and I couldn't get through it, I'd be like, nah, putting it down. Or alternatively, I would have looked up a guide. And if you look up a guide for this, I feel that you are literally robbing yourself of the experience of putting things together.
Yeah. You also couldn't look up a guide back when these kind of games existed as well. So it was like a community effort almost.
Yeah, that's true.
So that made it
Or if
really
you really
fun.
wanted to, if you really wanted to, they had that number on the back that you could call for like, what, 50 cents?
Was that a thing?
And,
I've never heard of that before.
one of my friends called it, and because he got stuck at like Majora's Mask or something, and they gave him like a walkthrough for it.
Oh my god!
But over the phone, and it took like 10 minutes. So like they got a very big phone bill, and he was in very big trouble.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But boys, I have a business idea.
Bully hunters.
Bully the developers.
Yeah. But that's sort of like the game and the exploration. But the combat itself is you literally got a sword and a shield. You can block and you can swing your sword. And there are iframes when you dodge. And there is a stamina bar as well. And if your stamina gets to 0, you take, I think it's 1.5 times damage, which is it's an important lesson to learn that you can't sort of you have to be mindful of how much stamina you've got, and if it starts to blink, it's like, oh shit, I died in 1 hit instead of 2. And that's and there are upgrades throughout the game that you can upgrade your you get MP a bit later, you can upgrade that, then your stamina and your health and your attack power and all that kind of thing, and that sort of does get good. But in those early stages, it is like a little bit unforgiving in like the enemies you come across. And it's like, 2 hits and I'm dead. Like, and it's
especially when you don't have a shield or a sword.
Yeah, it's just that the first hour and a half of the game are probably the roughest because you don't know what you're doing. You can't really work it out. And it's hard to... I knew because I've seen reviews for it that I knew that the instruction manual was my friend. But if I hadn't seen... If I came to this game completely blind, it'd either be like a very frustrating at the start and then you'd sort of understand it. But at the same time, I knew the instruction manual was good, but I didn't know what it was going to tell me. So by the end of it, I sort of did come around to it and understood what was going on. But that's... So I did have a good time, but as I was 100%ing it, there are secrets, like there's 10 secret treasure chests that you've got to get, and there is no fucking way you'd be able to get them without a guide. Like, I honestly don't understand. So in the latter half of the game, it refers to something as the Holy Cross. And like, because you can't speak the language, you talk to other NPCs and they come up with a gibberish language and it says Holy Cross. You're like, cool, Holy Cross, I must be finding like some sort of item or something. You finish the game and there's no Holy Cross, there's no other item you get. And you're like, what the fuck is the Holy Cross?
You find literally Jesus.
Well, no, so the Holy Cross is a D-pad.
Oh,
it's your D-pad.
That's clever.
It is clever. And then there is sort of one sort of section, but it never puts those two together. It never says the Holy Cross is a D-pad. On like one page, it has Holy Cross. And then another couple of pages later, it's got like arrows, like up, down, left, right, up, down. And I sort of knew from having cheat codes back in the day, if I put up, down, left, right, up, down, or whatever it was in front of this door, because the picture is of a door and it's got the hero and he's saying these arrows up and down. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see what happens if I press this on the D-pad. Then it opens. And I'm like, cool. That's the only time I'll need that Holy Cross. That's cool. But then as you're looking I was looking for hunt the achievements or that kind of thing. There are these weird, like on different pages of the instruction manual that you have no clue what they're there. There's like little maps that you can sort of follow through. And then that gives you the golden path to do for all these secrets, and that would be like, I wouldn't be able to understand how you'd be able to get it without it. But then at the same time, that was me achievement hunting. All those type of secrets probably you wouldn't find unless you had a guide or unless you sort of had some sort of hint, because there's no way I think you could do it.
Yeah, fair enough. I find that kind of stuff interesting though. Like, when you actually figure out one of those without a guide, like even if it's only 1 out of like 10, right? You go, man, that was clever. Like, you go, fuck yeah, that's just interesting as hell.
But you wouldn't know there's 10 of them.
No, you wouldn't. But like,
because which is like, cool, I got this. This is the only one you need that for. That was really clever. And then it's like, okay, I finished the game. I think I've done everything. I'm missing like 15 achievements. What the fuck are these achievements? They're all secret achievements. You look it up and you're like, oh, okay, these are all fucked. I would not know how to do this. But it's still a really good game though. I highly recommend everybody start to play it. But the whole
I highly recommend everyone start to play it. Yeah, get as far as Josh and then decide.
I will go back to play it. It was very good. I just don't have the time right now to sit there and play such a short game.
Good thing you have a Steam Deck where you can play it literally everywhere.
The Steam Deck will only play it on remote play unless I buy it on Steam. So I
Can't you install Game Pass onto
you
it?
can install. So you can't install Game Pass, but you can run the remote play versions of it.
20 minutes ago was
that's
Josh
how
talking about how good it is that he has the Steam Deck, and everyone's like, so why don't you just play Tunic,
I mean,
bitch?
I can. Like, it's on macOS, Windows, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. So it's on everything.
Yeah, PlayStation 5. It came out on everything.
Yeah, so I could probably run a native version through macOS or through. I mean, I could just install it. I could just buy it on Steam. Yeah, if it goes on sale, I'd very much consider it. But while it's on Game Pass, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, like it's unfortunately it's a weird thing to recommend because if you don't like this game in the first hour and a half, 2 hours, like it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get any easier to play. Like it can be frustrating if you didn't know about the instruction book. It'd be like, oh fuck, where do I have to go? I don't know what this game's dumb. I keep getting fucking killed by these dumbass slimes. I don't know where to go. But if you do sort of like grit your teeth, if you do keep playing through it, if sort of some sort of things do click and it's like, oh, that's actually really fun. And then it progresses and it's like, whoa, this is actually a good time. And figuring things out on your own is like, it's very satisfying. Like it does drip feed you clues, but then putting all those
Straight
clues together.
dopamine.
Literally, yeah, it's like, oh, this is what you have to do. Fantastic. And I think there was only one part I needed a guide for, but that was because it was the isometric view was fucking me over. There was like a path I had to go down, but like I didn't think I could because it was like
I think I had that problem.
And that was sort of a bit fair. A bit unfair.
I want to mention very quickly because I find it funny. If you Google Tunic, the first thing that pops up is Tunic on Steam, and then it's a whole bunch of people also ask, what is Tunic for clothes? Is Tunic a top or a dress? Is Tunic a furry game? Is Tunic like Zelda? Can you have a fursuit and not be a furry? What is the most popular furry costume? That really devolves very quickly.
Hey, Josh, I don't know how to tell you this. Those are populated based on your search history.
I fucking hope not.
Wait a minute, it's got that time thing. These are all historical searches. Wait a
Why are
minute.
these purple links?
All the links.
He just started blending his
All the links
search
to
history
purple.
with the Tunic search history.
But yeah,
I like the idea that Josh gets stuck on something in Tunic, and so he goes to Google and he looks up, can you have a fursuit and not be a furry? And 4 hours later, he's like, well, that
I
was
still haven't
interesting.
found the
So
shield.
anyway, Tunic,
So,
shit.
I'll just be searching like, oh, can you have a shield and not be a furry?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, Tunic, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Towards the end, the final boss is a bit kind of fucking bullshit. And then I had to sort of like, you know what, I'm just going to ooga booger it. Like just literally don't even worry about the iframes as you attack. And I eventually like that ooga boogering it worked, as it always does in video games.
So at the moment, it's rated 9 out of 10 and 95%. What would you give it?
I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, all right.
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
I could sort of see why people like enjoy it that much, but some of those secrets being like, how the fuck would you be able to like even like during normal gameplay, not excluding the achievements towards the end, there are sort of certain secrets and upgrades and stuff that it's like, unless like if you didn't know isometric views and how they purposely hide stuff, you would not be able to get there, and that sort of hurts its accessibility. So then it just turns down. It just becomes every time you enter a new map, if you're in a new area, okay, I can see 3 areas that are obscured by the map. Let's see if I can go behind them. Oh, big surprise, I can. And it just sort of makes it a weird predictability type of thing. But then at the same time, it's becomes the same curse of, oh, look, that wall's a different color. Let me bomb it and see it open.
Yeah.
So it's a video game trope, and I don't have an answer on how to make it better. But no, 8 out of 10, very good. 2
Sweet.
thumbs up.
Thank you.
Recommended.
I like
for
how our
that.
scale goes from 7 out of 10 is alright to 8 out of 10. It's very good.
No, 5 out of 10 is all right. 6 out of 10 is better than all right. 7 out of 10 is pretty good. 8 out of 10 is excellent. 9 out of 10 is close to perfect.
No, 7 out of 10 is too much water. Thanks,
Oh.
Auckland.
That's like Auckland. Just like that guy's wife.
Well,
I don't know why I was going
Yeah.
with that. Hey, tunics are also a fashionable accessory as well. Feel like I didn't really talk about that too much.
That's the sequel.
Ah,
Or the squeakquel to my furry friends out there.
squeak.
currently, for the record, by the way, it's $45, so it's half the price of a full regular price AAA game. So, pretty good value.
I don't think it's worth the
What do you mean?
40.
It's less than half price.
Is it?
Or was it 45 Australia?
45 Australian, yeah. So,
So that's like what, 13,000 in New Zealand?
Okay, well, first of all,
How many
that's
shells
hurtful,
is that in New Zealand currency?
No, we still use the big stones that we roll places.
Yes, I was thinking shells
Let me tell you.
underwater.
Let me tell you, that's the only time.
That was a good one.
Thanks. But it's the only time where EB giving you a shitty trade-in deal is okay because it means you don't have to roll as many big rocks to your truck.
That's so dumb. I like
the
the
amount of
idea
water
of you
Auckland had
using
in the last
rocks for
48
currency,
hours.
but you still have trucks.
Yeah, and you know who provides those trucks, Josh?
Tesla.
This was the one time you could have done a sweet
know.
brand activation, but no, you had to just
I had to throw it away.
you drowned it like you almost drowned in that pool for an hour.
Almost. Question mark?
Anyway, thank you for that, Steve. I would like to jump in and talk about the ending of Unbound. So Unbound.
So this is Need for Speed
finally-
Unbound.
This is Need for Speed Unbound. Yep, Need for Speed : Unbound.
Colon.
Shut up.
Call off.
That joke only worked with Pokemon Legends Colon Arceus.
I don't know. I think the real ones remember that from not needing the prompt. But thanks anyway, Seth. So where I got to when I gave my thoughts on it was about halfway ish. Yeah, about halfway through, and basically stand by everything that I said. The highs are really high, the lows are really low. To talk about the ending in a couple of bits. One, holy fuck, the AI is just all over the place in the highest difficulty, and not in the so to take 1 point from when I talked about Unbound the last time, it's that I really like games that treat you and everyone around you as sort of as players. Like, you don't get special treatment, and you also don't get special treatment in the good way or the bad way. You're just like an AI, basically. You get treated like an NPC. And at the higher difficulties, it becomes really clear that the game doesn't have a good way of doing that, because the highest difficulty is not the right word. The highest performance class, where you're up with all the Lamborghinis and Ferraris and like all the top spec performance class. There are usually 8 NPCs in a race, and the slowest NPC you can lap fairly consistently if it's a circuit race. And that doesn't seem right. And then at the other end of it, you have 1 or 2 AIs who outperform not just the performance class of their car, but the performance class
Human
of
limits.
what you have access to. Yeah, like, honestly, yeah. And it's both a blessing and a curse that they have this rival system, because you know which NPCs will be the ones that are just absolute hell on earth to beat. There's something that I keep talking about when I talk about Forza Horizon with this sort of king driver-tar mentality, where I think I mentioned it when I talked about Unbound previously as well, where if you, for whatever reason, can't get into first fast enough, there will be one NPC that has just decided to become the kind of champion of all NPCs. And if you look at where cars are on a map, that NPC will be way out in front. And then like 10 seconds back will be second place, which is usually you or an NPC close to you. And then like the sort of the peloton chase group, and then the rest of the pack. And it's the same at the highest difficulty in Unbound, which is really frustrating, because I thought we were... I sort of come to expect it from Horizon, and it's annoying that it came up again in Unbound. And in Unbound, it's an AI, it's a rival called Shimizu, who, let's just put things in context. I use 200,000 in-game dollars, whatever you want to call it, to buy my S Plus car. I bought a Porsche GT2 RS, $250,000. And Shimizu is using a LaFerrari, which you can buy in-game, but would cost about 1.5 million.
Oofed.
And you just do not have, because of the time mechanics on how the game progresses, you simply will not get $1.5 million unless you go out of your way to just constantly restart the last day to just keep building up cash. And so if you do not make it to anywhere near Shimizu in the first couple corners, he's gone. And there is maybe a 1% chance that he crashes or something happens that he like slows down or that you can get to them. I know that this happened because one of the events is this big oval circuit that you do, and it's very, very banked. And there's something, I don't quite understand what it's doing with the physics model, but when your car is on like a 45-degree angle going around a bank, it can start becoming unstable. And it was really funny watching Shimizu going around this banked turn and then just disappearing up, where he just lost control and like jumped out the top side of the oval. But it's absolutely fucked trying to fight a LaFerrari in a car that you simply just cannot compete with. We got there, and the final event, the grand. This is not a spoiler because they tell you this is the whole thing that you're playing for. This is everything you're playing for. On the way there, they have a Morbius moment where Rydell,
it's Unbound time. Yeah,
no, almost. Rydell, he rings you on your way to the grand, and he's like, all right, kid, it's time to find the need for. Oh shit! What is it? I know that there's some turn of and your character's just like, Rydell, don't say it. The need for speed. That's what it is. Thanks, Rydell.
Oh, Jesus.
There's a lot of writing like that that's like really cringe, but also really funny. There's a side quest that was brilliant. What was it called? It was like Need for Weeb or something like that, and you pick up this anime dude who's like shills that really old anime to you where they're drifting and he's balancing the noodle cup and stuff. Initial D. He basically tells you the plot of Initial D while you're driving and escaping from the cops. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And there's another great moment where it's at the start of the grand in the cutscene, and basically a whole bunch of story happens. Really doesn't matter what the story is. You were talking to one of your rivals, and they're like, "But what if neither of us win this event?" And your character straight up says, "I don't know. Maybe we raise a crew, go racing, maybe perform some heists, talk about family, drink some beers, and then do that 8 or 9 times."
That's so good.
Jesus.
Excellent.
That's very good.
And honestly, like, because he's doing it completely straight faced as well, and I'm sitting there on the couch like, holy fuck. that's
There's
amazing.
also a lot of good like radio interviews with like the like what are they doing? It's like they're running for mayor or something.
Yeah, it's a political campaign for mayor. So this is what I want to get into. So yes, there are some great ones where it's kind of the GTA-esque political satire on the radio, and most of it is excellent. Really good. So in the grand, big final thing, you have to do 4 races, 1 in each performance class, and the whole thing is that at the same time this is happening, there is a mayoral, whatever that word is, election on. The mayoral election has zero bearing, not only on the grand, but the story of the game in general. Like, the only reason that they're having an election campaign on is for the radio interviews. That's it.
That's great though. Like, I didn't expect it to have any impact, but like hearing some of the stuff, it'll be like, oh, you think we should have like less? What was it? It was like there's something about like, oh, he's trying to talk about libertarians, and he's obviously very right wing. He's like, we should have less librarians, and he's like, oh wait, no, I didn't mean that. And then they start like ripping into him and stuff, and it's really funny.
There's also other banger lines like, I'm just like you guys. I have my nanny put on my pants one leg at a time. He gets asked, do you think your lack of political experience is going to be an issue if you do become elected for mayor? And he kind of stammers for a bit, and he's like, well, back when I was a child, I went fishing with my dad.
Oh no.
And my nanny just slapped a fishing rod in my hand and told me, go catch a fish. And so I started fishing. And at that point, I hadn't seen a fish other than what Nanny had prepared me for dinner. So it was a bit of a shock that I finally see a fish in all of its glory before my daddy smashed it against a rock. And that is how I want to run, and that is how I will approach being a mayor.
Smashed against a rock. Dude, yeah, there's some, like, most of the writing is like pretty like that's like underwhelming kind of stuff, and then they just have some fucking bangers. Like,
yeah. It's a little bit of a grab bag. I quite enjoy it. It is a little trite, but it's also what you expect in a game like Need for Speed. Anyway, yeah, there's 4 events in the grand. Really, it really doesn't matter what the events are. The point is, in the NPC, in the rival list rather, Shimizu is one of them in the first event, and all 4 events are eliminators. Starts with 8, goes down to 6, goes down to 3, and then the winner takes the whole thing again
at the start of the first one.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
So all of my Forza Horizon online lobby training kicked in.
You must take them out
and
on
I
the first
straight
corner.
up murdered Shimizu. Yeah. And the best part is, through the first event, you and one of your rivals just constantly having phone calls back and forth, just jeering each other and all that sort of stuff. And so in the second event, I made it a mission to knock her out.
So she can't call you anymore. Does she still call you in the third one from the sidelines?
No, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to test. I wanted to test whether the game still makes her ring you as if it's part of a pre-planned voice line thing. And I suspect it would have been, but it's just silent. And it's really funny because she acts like she came second.
That's good. I know exactly who you're talking about too.
Yeah, no, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. I did like the ending of it. What I didn't like, I tried online. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It has been a few months.
Forza Horizon, excellent online experience, and also excellent integration between single player and multiplayer in terms of what you do in single player. You know, like you smash, you go through like a speed gate, and you know it's relative to other players, all that sort of stuff. Online, there's none of that. You're just in a lobby and you do playlists. That's literally it. It's really weird. Like all of your progression is completely separate. You have like I've finished the game. I have $1 million in the bank because that's what you win from the grand. And I'm at the weird point where I don't really know if it's worth continuing with single player because it would only be for completionist, which part of me wants to do, but there are so many online specific trophies I don't know if I can be bothered. But you go to online, you have $0, you got to pick a car, you got to make your character again. It's a completely separate
weird.
progression.
Yeah, it's yuck.
And so all of the cars that you've spent ages customizing and stuff, gone, locked to single player. You have to redo everything, and the only way to get money is playlists, playing with other people. And
yuck.
You know, it has been a couple months since release, but all the playlists I only spent a couple hours in here, so I don't know if it was just the time of day that I picked or what have you. But the most people I saw going into a playlist in a supposedly 15-odd player lobby was about 3, and they don't fill it with NPCs. It's just players.
And you were playing with a friend of ours, right? So you were 2 of those players, those 3.
Yeah, so we were 2, exactly, yeah. And it's weird because there's no need. There's no like
there's no need for speed if you would.
Kind of, no, like
it's
like you would, but okay, now you're pushing it. But it's kind of like a why would you bother? What's the draw? Like I really like the Horizon experience because you have a sick car or whatever, and then you can take it online and play with it offline. But to have everything so split and locked to their respective progressions, it's difficult because I already have a bunch of the cars that I like driving, and I would rather use more playtime to get other cars, not the same cars I already know I like just because they're good cars and online. Do you know what I mean?
I know the reason why they've done it, and it's not a good reason. It's purely so that they didn't have to create the separate tiers and everything like Forza has, where you can play like A tier cars or you can only play like S tier cars or whatever like that.
No, they still have that.
Or in the same playlist though, can't you just bring whatever?
No, if you don't have a car that matches, they just stick you in a
I was under the
impression
impression it didn't have it when I tried to load it up, but okay.
No. So when you go to the playlist will be like, hey, this is a B class, hey, this is an S class, whatever. And I don't even know what car I picked at the start, but I have a car and it's B class because I don't have any money to spend on upgrading it. And then I wanted to know what happened, so I was like, yeah, let's do an S class or an S plus class playlist event. And they're just like, hey, here's a Ford GT.
Oh, that's okay. I don't understand why they've done it at all. Then that's really dumb.
No. My guess is to make it easier for crossplay. That's a complete guess.
But
that's the only giving them the benefit of the doubt.
doubt.
Well, because like look at some of the games that have tried to announce, like Monster Hunter, for example, it was too hard to bring save data across to a different platform, right? I'm imagining one of the difficulties with crossplay is syncing data in that sort of way. And so it would be easier from the development side to just completely split it off as this is multiplayer, this works regardless of the platform you're on. That's my guess. I have no idea if I'm right. I'm not in the gaming industry, but if it's not for a reason like that, it feels really bolted on for no reason.
My
which
take
sucks.
on that would have been like, for Monster Hunter Rise, it's already a game that's out. So like trying to make it work afterwards is something that would have been a difficulty, but for Need for Speed Unbound, having crossplay right out the gates, they should have just had things tied to servers to make that work.
I think it all is tied to servers anyway. So I don't understand why it doesn't work.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But the point is
that
the multiplayer was really subpar. Two other points that I want to hit about the Grand, just because I forgot them. One, sorry, not the Grand, but just the end of the game, playing through it. In the rivals list, one of the things you can do is you can make bets against where you think you're going to place in a list of
the person you're
players.
versing on crack, I swear to God.
So partially, which is one, why you never bet against Shimizu. but two, I don't know if this was part of his contract, but ASAP Rocky is always the highest rated player in the group, even though he consistently comes like sixth.
Is he really?
Fuck off. No, that's shit.
And it's really funny because it means that you just get free money by betting against.
That's so funny. What the hell? I never noticed that. I was always betting against the Weeb cars so I could see the cars up close because it zooms in on your rival car. And I was like, I'm going to bet on the car I want to see.
So that's part one. And here is part two. And this is such an underrated, but I'm glad they put it in there, moment of, I don't remember when I unlocked it. I think it was from finishing the game, or if not, something really close to finishing the game. One of the horns you can get is ASAP Rocky just saying the word beep.
That is excellent. That is so good. Not as good as the Forza Horizon Microsoft Teams notification sound, but up there.
No, but obviously that's licensed. I prefer the error sound.
Oh yeah, it's a good one too.
It's also a good one. Yeah.
There's a bit of distortion, so you know it's not your computer actually crashing, but it's pretty annoying. But yeah, I just want to. So the reason why I want to give this, because this will be the final thing I say about Unbound. This kind of circles back to talking about Ragnarok last week, I'm pretty sure, where I gave Unbound, I think, an 8 out of 10. Still sits about 8 out of 10 from having finished it. I really disliked the multiplayer. Actually, probably one of the worst multiplayer experiences I've had in a while. But I never bought Unbound with the intention of playing and enjoying multiplayer, so the Unbound multiplayer has no bearing on my score. And I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority of the people here who would agree that if the multiplayer is bad, it should tank the score a little bit.
Okay, so did the multiplayer ruin your experience of playing the game?
Yeah, I think that's where I'd come from as well, because like you said, you didn't go in with the intention of playing the multiplayer all that much, so your score reflects what you wanted out of the game and what you got.
Yeah, and because it's completely separate, I'm still content giving it an 8 out of 10 because the single player is great amongst the issues that I've already spoken about in whatever episode that was.
I'm of the opinion that, like, obviously your score is subjective, so to you, your score should be based on whatever you want it to be. But on the other hand, if you had such a bad time as part of that game, as long as you're disclosing that in some way or another before you give that score, then that's fine.
Which he did.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it's
it's more. I disclosed it in saying that I haven't played the multiplayer yet. So the multiplayer, I think I said the words, the multiplayer might be fantastic, and I don't know.
Like, yeah,
and I know now, and it's not.
Yeah.
You went into a lobby, saw it was a mess, and noped out.
Yeah, exactly. So like saying coming on this week, because if I was listening to this podcast and you said nothing about the multiplayer and said 8 out of 10, and I went, oh, that might be really fun, I might pick it up to play with friends, and then I get on it, it's like one of the worst experiences I've ever had, then I'd be pretty salty. But like it's all subjective, so I don't know. It doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah. No, I'm not looking to make this a big discussion. I'm just curious because it doesn't have any bearing on my score, but that is sort of, it is what it is. And the final point, which is another sort of musing that you can take with what you will. The only things that I have left to do in single player are the achievement hunting, the collectibles, smashing all the bear statues, smashing all the billboards, getting 3 stars on all of the events around. The lack of a fast travel system.
Oh yeah.
I can't be
I
fucking.
agree. I was waiting for it to
Forget
unlock.
about that.
It's a big
Forza
map.
Horizon, fantastic. It is. Forza Horizon, fast travel to the end of this road where you pick up enough speed and you can get the 3 stars on, whatever thing you're doing. This game, start from one of the specific garages and safe houses, pick the car that you think you're going to need, drive there,
Find out.
realize it's not the right car, GG.
Fuck around and then find out. The Forza also has a good system where obviously you can get your car delivered to you, and also like if you mess up slightly on trying to get one of those billboards or whatever, and you leap off a cliff and it's a fucking long way back to that cliff, you can rewind and it's fine and you can try again.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that.
There are a whole bunch of little things. I won't be speaking about Unbound anymore on this unless someone else plays it and we get into a discussion about it.
I don't think I'll finish it, to be honest.
Yeah, I have a little. It's almost like it's honestly giving me Pokemon Legends Colon Arceus vibes of here is how I would fix this game, and I don't think any of them are that big. It's just here are a bunch of little changes. If you'd like to hear that, I guess let me know. But otherwise, it won't be delivered here. I don't know whether I'll put something else somewhere up about it. But anyway, that's all I want to say about Unbound. Still an 8 out of 10 game, but fuck the multiplayer. Right, next up, Saif, Crisis Core / Sackboy Big Adventure. Cannot wait to see how this goes.
Oh god, yeah, here we go. You're the one that told me to do both of them at the same time.
I changed my mind.
All right, I'm gonna go Crisis Core because that's the game I cared more about.
Very cool.
So Crisis Core's a game that just came out recently, and a re-release.
I don't like the
re-release of a game that came out
that...
in 2007 or 8.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that your new release game of the year last year?
Yes.
And it came out on the PSP in like 2007 or something.
Yeah. Well, there's enough changes in this to make it a new game. Basically, making the combat a lot better than it was in the PSP game.
It still looks like a PSP game.
It looks better.
It really looks like
it
that.
has animations from a PSP game.
Yeah, but I've seen. To be fair, I've seen screenshots of the game. I have not seen it in motion. And from what I've seen of the screenshot, it looks like it's got like a.
It's nowhere near the quality of Final Fantasy VII like remake. To be fair,
I was gonna say it's got like a Final Fantasy VII coat of paint on it.
Yeah,
it's like a lower fidelity remake coat of paint. Because this is also out on everything. Like the remake's just on PS4 and PS5 and PC.
Just basically everything. But anyway,
not out on Xbox.
No,
Not yet.
and yeah, Crisis Core is on the Xboxes and Switch as well. So that's actually on everything. And
it's on the Switch. Jesus,
yeah, it's going to run on the Switch, which is why it looks like that.
Oh, that's
your
a
problem
shame.
right there.
Good thing it also runs on the Switch, right, Josh?
Well, it does run on the Steam Deck.
Everything runs on the Steam Deck, right? You just got to work hard for it.
And derail.
Wait, what? Yeah, I was derailed and I lost where I was.
Just
anyway,
like that, guys.
You're talking about Gil.
This is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, so it's following the events of Zack Fair.
Oh, so it's Final Fantasy VI.
I hate that.
So. You'd think so, but it's between 6 and 7. So, more of an interquel. The pre-sequel, if you will.
So
It's
okay,
the
well,
core
first of all,
of Final
don't do that to
Fantasy
me.
VII.
Second of all, yeah. Second of all, so it's Final Fantasy 6.5 Birth by Death.
Please stop.
Oh, we're in a crisis now, fellas.
I was trying to think of a way to make Dream Drop Distance and Birth by Sleep work together, and I just
no,
my mind
you don't have to make
tanks.
a Kingdom Hearts reference. You can
But
skip
Patrick
that.
already did it, and now I got to join
you don't have to,
in.
Yep, if Patrick jump over a bridge, would you do it?
Yes.
There's Kingdom Hearts at the bottom.
Yes.
Seth, the tangent you're looking for was dropped to sleep.
That's how the graphics look. Yes.
But no, actually, I do like the arts. I don't know if it's the art style or just the effects I like on Crisis Core, because every hit just sends sparks flying off the enemies. It's like really visually satisfying to just hit enemies.
Sparks flying out of your GP.
On the Switch, probably.
If every time
Man's out here looking like an arc welder.
if every time I got like a really big like boom out of my PC whenever I did a great sword slash on Monster Hunter, it would add so much to the experience.
Yeah, it's the what's the guy shit. It was a YouTube video. It came out about a year or two ago where he put the largest vibration
next to that guy's wife.
Hey.
Nice. No, the rumble pack. He got the biggest like industrial sized rumble pack and just put it on his table and rigged up.
Please tell me it was a
just
glass
rigged it up
table
to
and it
whatever game he
shattered.
was playing. Shoot, I'm gonna have to find this for afterwards. But anyway, point is, Seth, someone's already done that.
That's I need that. I need that just for the great swords true charge slash.
Understandable.
Anyway, so this game follows
So Final Fantasy 14, yeah.
yes, that's twice as many as that's 2 Final Fantasy 7s.
But this isn't Final Fantasy 7. This is Final Fantasy Crisis Core.
It's Final Fantasy 7 Crisis Core. Actually, is
I
that
don't think
right?
that's right. I'm pretty sure it's just Final Fantasy Crisis Core. I don't think it says 7 at all.
Well, 7 is for the Crisis and 7 is for the Core, so it's 14 all up.
It
Just like
is
that guy's
Crisis
wife.
Core Final Fantasy 7.
That's a dumb name.
Oh.
All right, let's drop to a 3.
What is it? It's
Really, Josh. All of the Final Fantasies, and this is the hill you're willing to die
Yes,
on.
actually, no.
This is
Final
the dumb
Fantasy
name.
Type 0, whatever it was the dumbest name.
that was a good
No,
game.
it was a shit game. I got it for $5
You're a
and
shit
it wasn't
game.
even that
It was
worth that.
mid.
It wasn't even mid.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Final
we can
Fantasy
move-
Stranger of Paradise is a bit of a weird name
Yeah,
too.
that wasn't
That's
even
Final
a
Fantasy
game. That
Origin
was,
Strangers of Paradise.
yeah, that was a
No,
meme.
other way around. The Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Okay, whatever. Talk about Crisis Core.
They don't
I'm so
know
fucking
Scared.
Yeah,
lost.
get
do they?
fucked, Steven.
They just swap it up every time. That's how they feel on the day.
Yeah, that's just how Square Enix works. They make really dumb titles and then they put them in reverse
You're right.
just to fuck with us.
This is a very Square Enix thing to do.
They record half of it right to left and half of it left to right, and then just
I
see
can't
what
wait for the
happens.
sequel for Babylon.
Ah.
I mean,
Anyway, Seth,
Sony already did
this
that with
video game.
Forspoken.
This video game. This is definitely one of the video games of all time. In fact, I believe I said it was one of the top 5 video games of last year.
But it's Final Fantasy 7.
No, this is Crisis
Technically,
Core
this game
Final
di-
Fantasy 7.
This game didn't come out last year, technically. Anyway, we're drier than you again. Okay, tell us why you think that.
Yeah. Anyway, so this game follows Zack because
What happened to Cody?
I knew someone was going to say it. I fucking knew it.
I should have said the last name. Zack is the guy that everyone loves in the 7 universe. He's basically everyone's friend. He's basically an energetic little puppy for half the game. He's Aerith's original boyfriend because at the beginning of Final Fantasy 7 they allude that Aerith had a boyfriend before hiring Cloud to become her bodyguard.
To become
So
her
we're just
boyfriend,
kind of
yes.
getting
Go on.
we're just
Yeah, that is what I heard.
we're just getting all of this backstory about who this guy is that's affected so many people's lives, and since they can't do a lot with Sephiroth in this because it's based on the time period where Sephiroth was a good guy before he loses his mind, they also have this other 2 soldier first class members named Genesis and Angeal. Angeal is Zack's tutor, and Genesis is the friend of Sephiroth and Angeal, and also the main bad guy of this game, where his whole shtick is his entire body is degrading, and he's trying to just find a way to make sure that that he can stabilize his condition at all cost. And to do it, he starts doing that by taking down Shinra, making clones of himself, and just going after the entire Shinra organization to get what he wants. And yeah, it just goes through Zack's kind of journey of dealing with Genesis, dealing with Angeal, finding his reason for fighting in Soldier, and eventually having the Nibelheim incident happen, which is basically the instigating incident of the entire Final Fantasy VII storyline of like where everything takes a turn for the worst. That's where Cloud starts heading into his journey for Final Fantasy VII, leading to the end of Zack's story where Sephiroth becomes the villain that he's known as. Yeah, so they just go into a lot of explaining all of that, and it's a really fun story all throughout. Zack is honestly one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise. Like, he's so upbeat and energetic. It's just hard not to like his presence on screen. He's the only problem I have with this is that they've changed the entire voice cast compared to so they're keeping the remake voice cast, which is completely different from the original Crisis Core one, and Zack and Sephiroth still sound awful compared to their original voice actors.
We'll just get Chris Pratt to do it.
Please, no. Do you think it's strange that they went out of their way to name everyone some weird name, and then they're just like, hey, we need to... here's Zack. We need someone that people can like project themselves onto. So here's Zack.
Zack's always just had his own name, so the people with weirder names are what were made for this game specifically. And their names aren't very subtle, like Genesis being the genesis of the series' issues, and Jill being just Angel
Barrett
because he's the one with angel wings.
That's clever, but
is it?
Yeah. So have they
Cloud
changed
being
that
named
much?
after what happened to him as a child when a cloud fell on his head.
When he was dropped from a cloud.
When he was in Strife.
Hey.
So,
Hey.
just like that guy's wife. So,
But
but isn't it? So if you played the PSP game and then you played this game, is there that much of a difference?
Would you notice the graphical change?
I mean, in terms of like combat or how the story's run or how is the story? Because my understanding is the story is presented in like
A series of flashbacks.
It's like mission based or something. A series of flashbacks. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Record scratch.
Record scratch. Yeah.
So you're getting a mix of things. So the main meat and potatoes of this game, if you want to like fully get everything out of it, is by doing missions where you go to a save point and you just like load up like I think there's 200 missions in this game.
Oh, good
there's
Lord.
a lot. And they're just like short little things where you run around like one of 6 or 7 different types of environments. Maybe it's 10. I'm not too sure on that. But they're just like short burst missions where at the end of them you get rewarded with higher level materia just to make the main story easier or move up the mission ranks and eventually go into the super boss of the game. That's like the main like crux of if you really enjoy the gameplay of the game, you go and do the missions. But the main game's structure is basically the same as it's like 7 remake, I guess, where it's more chapter based and you just go through, do a little bit of a story, and if you mainline it, these chapters are really short. Like you could finish this game in 2 hours if you're skipping cutscenes.
Wow.
Maybe less. Like it's really short.
Sounds like a PSP game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about to say that. Yeah.
But for major changes, the only real big changes is the combat system and the graphics. And graphics, like you just straight up, you can see what the difference is night and day between those. But the gameplay is massively changed. Like the old style was kind of like, sorry, excuse me. So you kind of take Kingdom Hearts' command menu, but instead of having like attack, magic, item, and so on, the old combat system was you had attack and then you could shift through whatever materia you had equipped and items at the very end. This is more of like an actual, like more similar to what the 7 Remakes combat system is like, and having using the shortcut commands is what all your materia are connected to. And they do interesting things with that, like the more regular hits in a combo you do, and then you trigger a melee specific materia, you'll do extra damage on that. Or if you're in the middle of a combo and do a magic materia, you'll actually jump back before casting just to give you room to pop it off before an enemy can hit you. And there were also these unskippable attacks that you would do, or limit breaks basically. you had limit breaks and enemies had limit breaks in the original game. In this game, in the original, they would just pop off whenever they were happening. But in this, you can either store your limit break and press triangle to activate it whenever you want, or click in both sticks if it's a summon or a just a summon, and you can have two of those stocked up as well. So you can have a triangle limit and a dual stick summons both up at the same time if you're lucky enough with the roulette real spins, which I'll explain in a second. But enemy limit breaks, they will have a when they go to charge their limit break, they'll have a progress bar that starts at 100 while they're casting it. And if you can drop that all the way down to 0%, you'll knock them out of being able to do their limit break. And if you don't get it that far down, at every 25% increment, it'll drop and do less damage if it does go off. So there's like a reward to be aggressive and do a DPS check, basically, to get through their what was unskippable attacks in the original game, and just make the game run that little bit faster and a little bit better.
Okay. What about this
Are you
roulette system?
enjoying it though? Yeah, it seems like that roulette system seems shit.
Yeah.
But as someone who hasn't played it, like, are you enjoying it?
So the roulette system is basically just a luck factor thing.
Shit.
Where constantly throughout the entire battle, there'll be a roulette of pictures and of numbers from 1 to 7 running in the top left corner. It's 3 pictures and 3 numbers. If at least 2 of the pictures match up and you get like a pair of like a matching set of numbers, you'll get benefits. Or if all 3 pictures line up, then that's when you get a limit break. And there's like 7 characters on there that it could line up for. So it's not really intrusive. It's just kind of there and a luck factor of if you get a limit break or not. As you're constantly going, you'll get benefits like infinite AP or infinite MP, or you become invincible for a little bit, or even leveling up is tied to it. And leveling up becomes more common the more XP you have banks, which is invisible to you how much XP you have, which is kind of annoying. But you can kind of just brute force it into getting to max level if you wanted to. But no, it's kind of unintrusive. It's kind of like a fun little thing that's just kind of in the game. And they use it in a really smart way thematically in the game's climax. Which I guess is a fucking... it's a 15-year-old game, so... if
Don't
you
spoil
guys...
it, I want to play it.
Okay, fine, I won't spoil it. But no, the game's like really, really good. It's highly recommendable. I really enjoyed it.
Do I need to play Final Fantasy VII?
You do not. In fact, the game ends with a to be continued in Final Fantasy VII message. So you could go into this like blind and then go into Final Fantasy VII, and it just adds a little more context that wasn't there in the original game. It was kind of like inferred in the original game. But you won't have anything ruined for it.
Oh, okay. Well, all right then. I'll get to it eventually after they bring 7 to the Xbox.
You know what? I wonder if Crisis Core is on Game Pass.
It is not on Game Pass. I will tell you that right now.
It's not on Game Pass.
Okay, then yeah.
No.
I guess you'll play it when it eventually hits Game Pass.
Everything always comes to Game Pass, baby. We're getting that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game. Oh, mwah. Why fucking pay for games anymore?
So that you can play Crisis Core.
I guess that's sort of where we're at.
True.
Just like that man's wife.
Play games on release that aren't on Game Pass on release.
Yeah, I can't think of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, cool. Thank you very much for that, Seth. What would you give it out of 10?
I think I give it like an 8 out of 10. Very enjoyable.
This is a day of 8s.
It is a day of 8s.
No, awful lot of 8. There's a mosquito in this room and I lost him. So if I start clapping for a bit, that's what I'm going to do.
Sounds like it's time for the news.
Cool. Like, dude, do you want us to like wait for you to take the mosquito out, or
No, I can't. It's on the other side of the room. Commercial.
Welcome back to Toyotathon.
Subathon featuring yeah.
Ford, I'm sorry, I tried to stop them.
I was trying to think if there was had some play on words with the word dodge in there. Anyway,
Just like that man's
finally,
wife.
Look, all I'm saying is that we'll do a key or something
not.
if they gift us all a stinger.
or
Stinger.
Stinger.
alternatively,
It's a great card.
we
or
would do a Kia something if people doing the Kia challenge want to just send us some extras.
The Kia challenge.
Yeah, where like because they didn't have immobilizers for like 8 years of production, all Kias, Hyundais, and there was one other car brand affected as well. Were like very, very easy to steal.
I've been seeing stuff about that actually. I didn't realize it was because they didn't have immobilizers. What the hell?
I think it was a lack of immobilizer. Wrong sort of content for this, but
And-
it was something like that. There was a manufacturing defect that meant that you could steal one in like under a minute.
That
And
is
coming in with
crazy.
Steelshare wanting a sponsorship deal as well as BMW.
Even if BMW
Yeah, but
gave me a car, I
unfortunately-
couldn't afford the maintenance cost, bro.
Or the
Yeah,
subscription.
subscription for my heated seats.
I just want to really, really quickly, 2 minutes or less, give my thoughts on the last. It's not even giving my thoughts. The Last of Us TV show. First 2 episodes are out. It very good. Things that I'm not
How are
sure
those
about.
tentacles, bro?
So I didn't mind that so much. There was there's one scene where it's a bit weird with
It's
the
when they-
change, but
No, I'm not
overall
gonna-
it's.
I'm gonna stop.
So future Sam, bleep that out.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was marking the audio.
Yeah, there's one moment where the tentacles are a bit of a departure from where the spores would have filled in, but otherwise, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were in the hentai industry yet.
Yeah, no, okay. Future Seth, bleep that out too. Really enjoying what I'm watching so far. Only thing that I really wish is that they made Ellie's actress more attractive.
Oh my god, I can't stand
You
those
fucking
memes,
idiot.
man.
That's it. Oh my god. That's it. We're
Future
cancelled.
Seth, bleep that out.
and if you're sitting there thinking, you know what? I think Patrick's right. Congratulations, you are the problem.
Actually, yeah, I only really
You've
thought on that
activated
actress is
Justin Roiland moment.
Yeah, no, like I cannot stand people that think that that's a legitimate
that's so
criticism
dumb.
of the show. Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
seek help.
I do think she looks a little
even
bit,
joking about it's a bit weird, Pat. I'm calling you out.
Seek help or seek jail.
I think she looks a little bit young to have like all the stuff that happens in like especially the DLC for Last of Us. Like she looks like 8 in the show. I haven't seen the show, but I've seen like screenshots of the show. Does she come across as like the age she should be in the game, like, you know, sort of teenager-ish?
So they, so they straight up ask her in the series.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah. Right after they say, Ellie, we are the Last of Us. Also, how old are you?
So anyway, about this DLC romantic interest you had.
Legally, I need to ask.
So she's 14 in the canon of the show, and it's believable.
Okay. Yeah, because she looks younger than that in the
think it
screen
looks fine.
caps I'd seen. So I was like, oh,
So here's the weird part. We're so used to seeing people that are older play people that are younger that having someone who actually looks the correct age does look kind of weird.
you're probably right. That's probably what it is.
Like if you
Being on camera
it's-
removes 5 years from your face.
well, it's not even that. It's like I just because I saw a post kind of in the same vein this week talking about the cast of Hunger Games looking
I saw a
way
photo
older
of
than they
that
should
as
have been
well,
in the books,
actually.
where they're like 12 and
Yeah.
13, and you're like, yeah, because 12 and 13-year-olds on film would look like that's a totally different film
Yeah.
if they're fucking killing each other for sport. So yeah, I don't have any. She is believable, and she's a great
Yeah, she's a good
actress.
actress.
So here's the one thing. I'm not going to get into this now, but here's the one thing that I'm grappling with. I really like Last of Us as a universe, as the games, as everything. What I am having a hard time grappling with is I like the show, but I don't know if I like the show because I know I like the game so much, or because the show is actually good enough to stand on its own two legs, because all of the plot beats that you expect to happen from the games have happened so far in the show. So it's not a surprise to me. And what I'm curious about is people who haven't played the games or don't know anything about the games watching it for the first time, and whether it's hitting the same as it did playing through the games back when, holy shit, 11 years ago, or I guess 10 years ago, because, we're just in 2023 now.
So Patrick, I may or may not have an answer for that. It depends on if you want to say this is just corporations or the legitimate actual validity of the show. But they have confirmed that there's going to be a season 2 that will cover The Last of Us Part 2.
Which, oh my god, that's going to be so interesting. Oh my god.
I can't believe they're going to get Chris Pratt to voice the golf club.
No, oh my god. Of all the fucking characters you could have said. Oh.
Final thing I'll say. I thought it was really cool that...
No, sorry.
I thought it was really cool that, so obviously they've said it such that...
Mario Golf took a whole new meaning.
Yeah, it really did. Here we go. So in the games, the initial event, like end of the world event, is 2012 when the game came out, and therefore the 20-year later time skip is with technology as of 2012. And here they've filmed it such that where they're currently playing it out is 2023. So therefore, the main world-ending event is 2003. And what was really interesting is that they were able to use regular footage of Boston for the post-apocalypse show.
God.
Hey, I was in Boston recently. It's fine. It doesn't look like that.
No, it just as soon as they shot it, it reminded me of Scary Movie. I don't know which one, where it's like here are the latest images of Detroit, and it's like the city burning down, and here's Detroit after the aliens invaded, and it's the same video with aliens.
There's another show that does like a thing like that too, and it's like oh, it was Futurama, and they're like, yeah, you're in like Los Angeles, or whatever, when he's like in that post-apocalyptic hellscape, and he thought he froze himself another 1,000 years into the future. And they're like, yeah, you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah, good. Anyway, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to see if they deviate or how they.
I really hope they
change anything from the games. But yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update. Definitely worth watching if you have access to it.
Looking forward to Chris Pratt being like, it's a me.
And with that, we come to the end of Round the Lounge this week, which means we get to move on to part 2 for this week, which is, of course, the news. But not talking about part 2, talking about part 1, Last of Us. It's an open-ended question with whether or not Naughty Dog is done with it. Like, they are seemingly done with the Uncharted series. Well, okay, and Joel as well. Rest in peace, Pedro Pascal. It's the second show I'm expecting him to die in at some point.
Honestly, somewhat of a less gruesome death, which is really weird. I think it's less gruesome.
I don't think I want to know, then.
What the fuck are you talking about?
It's Game of Thrones. He had his eyes popped out by the mountain.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones.
Right, that was Pedro Pascal.
Oh, look, I'd rather take the golf club there, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I couldn't tell which one you were talking about being less gruesome, having his head crushed or having his head crushed in a different way.
I would rather it not go through my eyes. I would rather take the golf club. You're bound to go unconscious first.
What if the golf club is voiced by Chris Pratt?
No, but remember, he had his legs. He took a shotgun blast to the knee.
Still, I would still rather take that.
Also,
like
thoughts on
Pedro.
My fucking.
You know what? I don't think Abby made it fast.
No, it was not
exactly.
fast.
Thoughts on Pedro Pascal now becoming the actor. No, the actor whose head's going to get smashed in by something.
Both of them were brick shit houses as well.
Do you reckon they'll use the golf club as like a sponsorship for some other golf club, and they'll show the brand like very vividly before they beat his skull in with it? I reckon they will.
I don't normally beat people's heads in with golf clubs, but when I do. Hey, Tiger Woods, where you at? Anyway, thoughts on Naughty Dog sunsetting Uncharted and possibly sunsetting Last of Us?
It's a shame. To be fair, I haven't interacted with The Last of Us since number 4, but they really didn't
Since
need
the
to.
last.
Talking about
Sorry, not the last,
Uncharted.
just, Uncharted. Sorry, Uncharted. I haven't interacted with
Last of Us
Uncharted
4,
since
fuck, you're ahead of
the
us.
last one.
Yeah,
Uncharted
since
4 is a
Uncharted 4
fantastic ending to the series.
Yeah,
it didn't need
agreed.
to happen. It did not need to happen.
What?
No,
You could
no,
have finished it at 3 and that was it.
no. 3 was a horrible
disagree.
ending. 3
Yes.
was a really bad game to end it on, so I'm glad they went.
Oh wait, actually, wait, Seth, I figured it out. Steve's baiting us. He just wants his Xbox stock to go up. He's trying to tell us that.
Oh fuck! Here we go. We're getting him started.
Uncharted 3
wait,
would have
he's
been the
getting
best
us
way to end
started.
one of the.
But,
Why don't
I
we
genuinely
get
think
ourselves
Uncharted
off?
3 was a good place to finish. Nothing ever has to have a good ending. Oh, my Sony stocks are up. All right.
No, Uncharted 4 definitely the best way to end
Yeah, no,
Uncharted.
3 was a weak game.
think
Shut up.
the Uncharted
Come on,
game's a
someone
weak game,
punch you in
sorry.
the back of the fucking head. I'm going to drown you in
I
Auckland.
think. Okay.
I mean, it's fine, but Uncharted 2 was such a big, really good game, and 3 is like kind of a mess. So 4 coming in and like being a fantastic game again, up there
my
with
God.
2.
I'm not saying
what
it
I
wasn't
just
a
realized?
fantastic
You know
game.
what I
I'm
just
just saying it wasn't needed. Like, you could have put the full stop at number 3, and there you go. There's your trilogy.
Uncharted's following the Assassin's Creed Borderlands pattern.
Yeah.
1, fine. 2, fantastic. 3, let's see. And then 4, the ending that we all wanted.
That's the Assassin's Creed one as well.
That's that. Thank you, Seth.
Oh, I
That's
thought you said Borderlands.
Exactly what I just
I
said.
thought you said Borderlands. I don't know why.
And Assassin's Creed. Don't worry about it. It's hard hearing through Steve trying to drown you in my
All I
neighborhood.
have running
Yes.
through my head right now is like literally like I don't always drown my co-host, but when I do, I use the beautiful waters of Auckland, and it's like a fucking holiday hat.
No. It's sponsored by shit.
Global
I
warming.
really should know one of the many. No. Like there's a big thing about companies just taking New Zealand water from not necessarily Auckland, but just like bottling water, not paying much tax and shipping it overseas.
Nestle.
And if I mean honestly, probably. I really wish I had one of the brand names to mind where I could just say, I don't often, flood my city, but when I do, I make sure it's Nestle,
Ugh.
But you know what? Steven is right. We do not need another Uncharted or The Last of Us.
I would like another Last of Us. There's such an open ending. If they didn't have the boat thing at the last second, and yeah, I don't know.
I think the difference is Uncharted is clearly about the story of Nathan Drake. You are always playing as Nathan Drake. There are others around, but it's Nathan
Yeah,
Drake's
he's
story.
the main character.
Yeah. Last of Us, the story is about the relationship. And so I would like to see more Last of Us content, but I think the story of Joel, Ellie, and even really Abby and, oh man, it's been too long. Help me out. The kid.
Liz?
No.
Levi.
No.
Oh my god, what's her name?
Lev.
Is it Lev?
Lev. It's Lev. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
said.
I thought you said Levi. Who said
Yeah,
Levi?
no, there's your genes. I said Lev.
Anyway, I think the stories with those characters are done, but I think the universe of Last of Us is interesting enough if they wanted to do another game.
That's the thing. I don't know if they would do that because that's what everyone
No,
said at the end of The Last of Us 1, that the relationship between Joel and Ellie is so perfect and the ending is so perfect
Yeah,
and clear cut.
and-
And then 2 went into here's Ellie again. And
Exactly, and we know how perfect it was because they had to kill Joel immediately in the second one.
yeah,
so-
saying that the universe is wide open to do whatever for The Last of Us 3. And it's like, yeah, but what if they just try to find another way to make either another Ellie game or just continue Abby's story? It's like we kind of feel done with those characters.
I
Yeah,
I don't even feel done with Abby at all. It's,
Really?
That's funny. She feels
yeah,
done
no,
with you.
I reckon it's just way too open ended. I would love a third game based
That was how The
entirely
Last
around
of Us
Abby.
1 ended as well. It was a very open ending for Joel and Ellie.
Yeah,
at
but
the
it was
end.
an ending. I don't feel like this one was an ending.
Yeah, it was an ending that she got her revenge. She realized it wasn't worth it, and then they went their separate ways.
Yeah, but
Like,
then
everything has to be wrapped up in a neat little package. Give me more
And-
open endings.
and the boats
Give me
landed
more
when-
questions and answers. I want more questions at the end of a movie than answers.
the boat landed where she wanted to go. Whether that was the correct thing to do or not is open up to interpretation.
but what about the Firefly
Oh.
story and the Cure? There's so much more that can be done.
I completely forgot, but that's completely unrelated to whether or not they continue with The Last of Us, but a line which maybe you guys have heard before, but I've never heard that was spoken in Last of Us, the TV show, of like the sweet elderly neighbor saying, people really need more Jesus in their life. Three neighbors plus one. Three nails plus one cross equals forgiveness.
Oh my god,
So good.
That's funny.
I've never heard that before, but it sounds like a tropey saying. So I don't know. I just maybe I just
Sounds very American. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm just not in the right circles, but yeah, no, it's just fucking excellent.
I have
hearing
another
that.
reason for them to make a part 3.
yeah, they're doing a story for
you
the
specifically?
multiplayer game that's coming later as well. Like they're going to do something with the universe in that multiplayer game, so maybe that could be like
bit of a wrap-up.
farewell song for The Last of Us, even though that seems like a weird thing to do.
It's just a montage of Ellie getting absolutely ruined
Just a
by
montage of golf clubs in
guy's
various
wife.
locations.
On a personal scale, I'm very over Uncharted and The Last of Us because we've been stuck with these since the PS3, and Naughty Dog hasn't spread their wings more since.
Yeah.
I want to see them
that-
do a new IP and something original.
That was the other thing. I love Last of Us, love the universe. So far, loving the show. I hate that it's causing everyone to go, actually, we need to buy more Last of Us because, god damn it, they're just gonna gear up to re-release a remaster. I'm telling you
remake
now.
of part 1 again. No.
Yeah, it's just part 1 is so overdone to me now. They had the original, they did the remaster, which was fine, and now there's a remake and a TV show.
Oh, sorry. No, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I'm on the other side because I only played it for the first time last year, and I was like, that was really good.
You, Josh, you
I
are the
know.
problem.
I've been with The Last of Us since 2012, maybe
Yeah.
2013, whenever it came out.
Whereas I literally had time to play the first game and the second game like a year after they both released, and I was like, okay, cool.
So you should
Anyway,
do it.
I
Never
feel- I
buy
feel
games
like
on
we've
release.
We're probably getting a bit hung up on this one story. So, yay or nay, ending Uncharted Last of Us. I say
I
yay.
have one last thing to mention on why they should make a number 3. You ready? So, Last of Us
No.
Part 2 won 320 Game of the Year awards, which was breaking the record that was set by Witcher 3, and it was only beaten this year by Elden Ring. So,
All right, Elden Base.
yeah, Elden Ring, coming out of the corner, so it sounds like we need a Part 3 to just nail it back in the coffin. Don't know.
Then what happens if Elden Ring 2 comes
Oh
out?
man, then that's just a good time. Like, that's what I want.
You know what? As gamers, we
Yeah.
really are winning, aren't
That's
we?
it.
We need more Uncharted games and Last of Us games, so we get better games to compete with those games.
that way, id Software goes, you know what? Fuck Sony, and then just releases a banger.
That'd be sick.
Who's id Software?
They did do.
Fucked it. Oh, god damn it. Give me the Elden Ring
Well,
one.
they're from software.
From
Software.
Software?
From
Who's it from?
Software.
Yeah, id Software's Doom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they do Doom. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, both of them.
both of them
Well, if
make
you
good
Google id
games.
Software, it comes up with ID cards. So that's pretty funny.
Why is that
Yeah,
funny?
never mind. I don't know. Shut up. That's why.
But in the same way that Steve was just spoken for spoken news. Boom. Segue, nailed it.
Ooh, 5 spoken. There's 4 of us.
I just have this I just have this on the docket because I want to laugh at the launch stream that no one watched. They announced a prequel DLC and everyone just kind of didn't notice because no one watched the stream.
That's really funny. That's the first I heard about it, actually.
Yeah, it just kind of slid under everyone's radar. No one's made articles about this except for like a small handful of people. No one talked about this either. It just kind of cropped up.
I don't know if you mentioned that. I've never seen this website that the article's from.
Old character.
Yeah, no, this is like a very different website. This is altchar.
Yeah. Yeah.
ALTCHR.com.
Like old character. Yeah, that's. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this website before, and it's the only article you could find on it. That's pretty funny.
Actually, does that mean that currently people that are streaming Forspoken on Twitch are actually just running pirated movie streams again? Like the good old Artifact days?
Or like the Actually, yeah, because Artifact was literally just that category that was so not watched that people just streamed movies in it that became too watched, so it brought attention.
Oh, that's
exactly.
reference.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I was thinking like the people that were streaming like pay-per-view underneath like the sports games, and they were just pretending to play it so that people could watch it. That was great.
That's excellent. Speaking of things that might be excellent, Saif, does Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising have rollback netcode?
Yes, it does. This is a sequel game to Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and they did the exceptional thing of both adding rollback netcode into it and crossplay. Look, I already came once and he just kept sucking with the crossplay announcement.
You know what? That's a very weird thing to
But
say.
now how will they
Seth.
release it to drum up hype later?
I now understand what the Rising part of the title is.
But you want to hear the better news about this? So,
Absolutely not anymore.
Josh might have a little idea of what Arxis lobbies are when I refer to them, like Dragon Ball Fighters style, or
like Guilty Gear,
where they have these little chibi characters running around.
Yes.
Yeah, go on, Josh.
Yeah, no,
you were saying something.
They're cute. I know what you're talking about. They're cute.
Yeah. Okay. So what if we took those, but instead of having online lobbies, we use them to do online Fall Guys?
I no longer like this idea.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
They've for some reason they've decided to just make Fall Guys style mini games inside the lobbies now, using their chibi characters, and it actually looks really fucking stupid but really fun.
You know what's more cursed?
Like,
off topic, but very, very quickly. I was at a post office, and apparently they make an Among Us board game.
Where the fuck is this going?
There's an Among Us board game, and it's sold at post offices in Australia.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
That surprises me. Why the fuck is it in a post office?
There's a Kingdom Hearts board game.
Yeah, I can imagine that, but how do you make it? No, it doesn't matter. I found it stupid. Anyway, continue. Chibi characters playing Fall Guys as beans.
It's simple.
Sauce.
You commit state level mail fraud, and you convince everyone else that
someone
you
calls
didn't.
an emergency meeting and just mail just stops nationwide.
I mean, just look at the UK at the moment.
Oofed. How your letters going to get through the floods?
So these mini games is called Grand Brews Legends. It's just a bunch of obstacle courses or mini games where you have to avoid bombs or even hoard gold bricks like the golden eggs in Fall Guys. So no, it looks pretty fun. I don't know if I'll actually play it, but might be a fun 5-minute distraction while I'm waiting for a ranked match.
Does the chibi we have Fall Guys at home come with rollback netcode though?
I'd assume so, since it's running on the same netcode as the main fighting game. I'd assume.
It's so funny if it didn't.
Cool. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
2023, where Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising My Penis.
So anyway, now that we've been cancelled,
Speaking of things that shouldn't raise penises.
Oh no! Oh, that was good. I'll give it to you.
Hold on, Patrick. I love that segue, but I need to hit the other Grand Blue news as well.
Oh, my bad.
So, the devil lies as easily as the devil lies as easily as he breathes, because he's telling me that Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is coming out in 2023. I will not believe this until it is actually in my hands.
It looks good though.
This is the big JRPG game that they've been working on for a long time. Like, they had Platinum Games working on this back in 2016 to 18, I think.
Remember when that used to be a positive thing? Sorry, go on.
I still think it is. I still like Platinum Games when they're not Babylon's Fall.
Sorry, go on.
Bum, 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 bum.
But no, they, after Platinum's contract ended, they just scrapped the entire game and started remaking it from scratch internally. There might still be bits and pieces of what Platinum worked on back then, but no one really knows for sure. Anyway, this is basically multiplayer RPG and multiplayer Monster Hunter, but anime style. Grand Blue just kind of took all their gacha money and turned it into a real game. Looks really fantastic, and for some reason they're calling this trailer the second trailer, even though this is like the 8th trailer they've put out for this game.
Trailer's just a state of mind, man.
It kind of is at this point.
Being able to count's overrated.
No, these games look fantastic. I've been excited for Grand Blue Fantasy Relink since the beginning, and again, I don't believe that they're going to release it until it's actually in my hands and I'm playing it myself. They're saying 2023 now. They could put it into 2024 later.
Oh, I was going to say something dumb. Never mind, actually.
No, go on.
I want to hear
this.
your dumb thoughts.
I can't remember what it was. It was something about it. What's the difference between a teaser and an actual trailer? And that's probably what they've done. You know what? Thanks for calling me out, fellas. All right, so maybe it is a trailer 8 or whatever, but it's because they've gotten like 6 other teasers or whatever.
No, they have a trailer from a few years ago called this, trailer number 2.
Years ago. Surely that's.
This game has been in development for a long time.
Oof.
So is Prince of Persia.
Don't even talk about Prince of Persia. You know what else has been in development for a long time? Skull and Bones. Fuck me.
Yeah, no, I think this and Skull and Bones might have been announced at around the same year.
Skull and Bones was 8 years ago, so...
I don't think it was actually that long ago. I think it was like 5 years ago.
Skull and Bones was announced like 7 or 8 years
It's
ago.
going to come out when the dev team's Skull and Bones. Am I right, fellas?
I don't want to talk about it. It's never going to release, and when it does, I'm not going to like it. I'm going to be really upset.
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was announced August 2016.
Fucking hell, man. That's like fucking 18 Pokemon games. Jesus
Skull and Bones
Christ.
was announced. Let's see.
It's Assassin's Creed 4. When did that come out?
Oh no, 2017. Actually, no, that's when. No, gameplay development began in 2013. Yeah, 2013. Actually, fuck, that's longer than 8 years. My sense of time is off. That's 10 years ago. Good lord.
Good lord, he says.
Yeah.
But yeah, are you going to buy this on release, Seth?
Probably.
Dumb sucky shit. Wrong answer. No. You're not.
I would
5
probably
years
buy
later,
Grand
$20
Fantasy on release, to be honest.
Steve walking around like the human Sentai Pad episode of South Park. No, he didn't read it.
It's so good.
Every time Steve trying to get everyone to go, no, don't buy games at full price, don't buy them on release. Seth, but what if I did?
I will find a Steam key for cheap. Is that good enough?
Close, but no, it's on
Cheap
release.
is not free. No.
What if the Steam key is 40%
What
off?
if it comes to Game Pass Day
40,
one?
75 final offer.
Final offer.
You drive a hard bargain, but I'm going to cap it out at 50%.
Driving a hard bargain like
All
the
right,
federal courts.
what about 60%, but Seth edits the podcast for free?
Ooh, hang on. You're speaking my language now.
You twisted my nipples here, but I think I can jump on that one.
You know what, Seth? Never say that again. Next news article, please.
Speaking of twisted,
Oh, yeet. Is this about this guy's wife?
No, it's about... yes, actually.
I actually feel kind of dirty with that segue. Adult Swim has dropped Justin Roiland. Okay, now it's time for Patrick to say a dumb thought, much like Josh dropped the Chikorita from his Fire Red party.
Fire Red? How would it be Fire Red?
Was it not Fire?
Pokemon Gold. Chikorita is not in Fire Red.
It's the worst game, don't worry.
But Fire Red is not the worst game. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Pokemon Gold
No,
is...
Pokemon
man, I got him
Gold
right.
is-
It's the worst.
Oh.
Justin Roiland. So anyway, back on topic. Yeah, Adult Swim dropped him.
He
after the
also
whole
left
domestic.
Squanch Games, which is his studio he founded.
I don't think that was optional, to be honest.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing is you got the two sides of people saying, you know, he hasn't been he's been charged, but he hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. But at the same time, it's like
It's pretty damning evidence.
Well, no,
So you want to risk it?
Yeah, well, and don't forget there's two parts to this story as well. There's the first part with him being charged with domestic violence, and that hasn't gone to court yet or anything. That will come soon. But then there's that second part where he's like chatting up 16, 17-year-olds.
There's literal screenshots and evidence.
Yeah, and there's a lot of screenshots and evidence of that, of him being probably the most fucking cringe human being in the entire world.
Thinking Term Jailbait is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, and there's that. That's but just whatever it is. But compared to him quoting that song "Insane in the Membrane" to a 17-year-old human being is like that's beyond fucking horror. Like they're not going to get it. You will literally just might as well.
All the
might as well
things to
sit
take
down and talk
offense
to
to.
yourself.
My
That's the
God.
line.
That's a line that Steven drew, and he's sticking to it.
It's the Steve Buscemi meme saying, how are you going, fellow kids?
Yeah.
By quoting a song that came out 30 years ago. Like
Steven's going to find a way to be on the
I'm sorry,
jury
but
for
could you
that
say his
trial
name
just so
again?
that he can argue for the death
Steve
penalty.
Buscemi.
It's Buscemi.
Whatever. Isn't that like a type of sandwich? No, that's a big
That's rigatoni.
No, that's a
That's the pasta.
Got to commercial. Yeah. So,
Oh, really? No one said no. That's the.
yeah,
I couldn't be the one to continue it. Someone else had to
I
pick
know.
it up.
I was waiting for the other two.
Yeah. So,
God.
but going back onto the Rick and Morty dramas, it's very funny how like High on Life came out and then made quite a lot of sales
And
and
now
game.
Justin Roiland is facing.
I don't know if it made sales. It made a lot of Game Pass downloads.
Very true. Sorry, very true. It was popular in Steam for a bit, but at the same time, there was nothing else on Steam.
If you
at the
bought
time.
that game, you got ripped for the record. But anyway,
100%. No, I think I said the exact same thing. Like, if you paid money for this, just give it to me next month.
yeah,
Um,
be better used.
But it's very good. As someone who used to watch Rick and Morty all the time and now watches like 6 episodes on a plane after 8 hours flying straight, so I'm very tired. So I think it's funny. I honestly don't know what the voices sound like without him. He's such like an integral part of those voices.
I'm pretty sure anyone could
I
do the
literally think
voice.
it's probably one of those things. It's like, you know what? Maybe it's time to.
Maybe just find someone that's not a better. I don't know.
They can't though. They can't stop that. Like we're just at the end of season 6, right? But Adult Swim have already ordered up to season 10.
Really? Oh my God.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're in for the long run.
Literally, almost half of the current Rick and Morty content is on production for Adult Swim.
I didn't realize they'd signed up for season 10. I thought it was like, I'll just pull the cord,
Hmm.
lick your wounds, make some money somewhere else. But
I mean, they could if they wanted to. They just have to eat the cost.
Yeah,
but the
it's
cost of
such a
3
cash cow
seasons
for
is
them at the
probably
moment.
Or
borderline bankruptcy. Oh, geez, I didn't realize it was that high. Man, strange.
Yeah,
You'd think there'd be something in the contract where they could drop that and get money back, but I suppose if the money is already gone, then what are they going to do?
imagine your contract says if
Well, it's pretty
like,
common for
this
celebrities,
specific-
like if you're found, to be in the public eye in a negative way, blah 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 blah.
It's probably different because he's a creator.
Maybe, but
it's
he's
right,
still
like,
a voice actor,
does he-
so I don't know.
Creator, writer, voice actor. It's like,
You think they'd all have kind of clauses like that, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's also extremely popular and probably will be continue to be extremely popular. So why would they drop it if they can change
Yeah.
the voice? So
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, look, they peaked at Pickle Rick.
that's,
maybe
that's
it's
the
time
old
to pull
peak.
the pin.
It doesn't. Oh, I don't want to have this conversation.
I thought the
I've
peak was a
seen-
Szechuan sauce.
That's in the same season.
5
That's
times
all,
real fast.
that's all season 4, and that's all very, yeah.
meta.
Not meta. I think it's just.
It broke
It's not
people.
meta. It's not
Yeah,
losing
in
money
a
in
way,
the
it's-
multiverse. The fucking
Yeah,
whatever
it was
it's
just
called.
because it was like, yeah, it was so like random that it was very funny. Like, oh, we have to go back and get the Szechuan sauce, and from like one McDonald's meal from like the 90s,
And they bring it back and people
Big
trade
wave.
their cars for Szechuan sauce in real life. Honestly, you couldn't write that shit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And so now,
Rick and Morty will
and now
continue.
I'm pretty sure it's still Dan Harmon at the
I think
helm,
so.
Yes.
being the other co-creator. And what's interesting is people going, okay, how long do we have until Dan Harmon gets found out for doing something shitty? Because
He already did.
He already
This-
did, yeah.
no, that's what
that
I'm
was
saying.
fast.
Is he isn't a paragon of virtue, shall we say, either. So
Nobody, but why would he do?
Not assault. It was harassment. He hit on and asked out someone on a set of a show he was going on, and then things went sour when they said no, and they made it public, and then Dan Harmon like apologized and kind of like made a big actual apology about it. So they forgave him for it. I forget who it was against.
Is he back in?
Because they forgave him, he's been given.
Ah, he's back in.
He's back in.
Isn't he also the one that
he's
has
back
that
in.
like massive feet thing? So like I don't know, man. I can't get behind him.
No, that's Dan
Dan Schneider,
Schneider.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was against Megan Gans.
I don't know who that is. Isn't that the character from Family Guy? I don't know. That was a
No,
weird
that's
reference.
Megatron.
Her name is Megatron,
anyway,
actually.
The next news article. Speaking of,
War Thunder.
Patrick, he's taking your thunder.
Is taking your thunder.
Wow.
God, we're at war now.
Fucking double entree because of the whole Auckland Thunder and Lightning thing as
Should
well.
I talk
Nice.
about this one?
Double entendre, like a double entree would be 2 starter meals at a restaurant.
Well, why don't you starter us off then, Steve?
Well, as someone who commits war crimes on the regular,
Would you like to indulge us in some of them?
my favorite place to go is the War Thunder forums, because apparently, for whatever reason, a lot of people
I
just...
don't often commit war crimes, but when I do,
No, I think Steven just said he commits war crimes on the regular.
Okay, well, so if you read the article, the second paragraph down says that the story was made up.
But there are many
But it was
times where it
very
wasn't.
funny, and I think it's worth mentioning it being like spread around as hard as it did that they had to come out and talk about it.
Should I start with the background?
Yes, please.
Right, okay. So War Thunder in general is a war-based game. You have tanks, you have planes, and they pride themselves on being semi-realistic in terms of what they actually do. So like you'll have planes from World War II that'll have certain decals, they'll have certain weapons, certain loadouts, blah, 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 blah. Accurate to real life. War Thunder in general has a history of people on the forums taking actual government documents of their production tanks and like stealing them from like, you know, war zones, whatever they're working on, like armory factories, whatever, and then posting these classified documents onto the actual forums to say, hey, War Thunder, you've got it wrong. It's like the armor's stronger here or weaker here or whatever. And it's happened like 3 or 4 times now where police have to keep getting involved. And basically this guy...
I feel like it happened 3 times in the past week.
It feels like it happens a lot. But this story in particular
more than it
was
should.
basically, given all the history of this, this person said, I applied for a job at Raytheon Technologies, which make guns and other bits and pieces. And they went, so basically... They went through all these questions in the interview, and then the last question was, do you play War Thunder? And then he said yes, and then he didn't get the job. And they had to come, and he's gone out and said, look, no, War Thunder's a national security risk, you can't get jobs, ha 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 ha. And then this whole story has been made up. But the legitimate like war crimes of posting documents onto the forums are all legit, which is just adds serious credibility to the story.
And Raytheon Technologies came out and actually said, no, that's actually not a part of our interview process. We don't care what games you play.
Yeah, we don't care what games you play. Just don't leak our fucking documents.
Whoever said this made it the fuck up, and we're sorry to be the ones to ruin that parade for all of you.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently, actually, it says in this article, since 2021, there have been 6 incidents of restricted or classified documents being leaked during discussions, which is crazy.
So good.
And like some of those were literally like the F-16 jet, which is like it's still in production, which is just nuts. There's a whole bunch of the modern tanks, like the Challenger 2 and stuff as well. It's just, oh my god, it's just
if we just keep
ridiculous.
getting faster and faster at this, we can prevent the next war from happening.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone will know everyone's weaknesses in all the modern armor, so like, what are you gonna do? But no, it's super funny. Anyway, that's it. Patrick, take us away.
Take him away, toys.
God, all of these PC Gamer articles I have loaded up are just plastered with War Thunder ads, by the way.
That's not surprising,
I
to be honest.
Just felt like I had to bring that up.
It's a free-to-play game that's Russian-based, and all the Russian tanks are OP, so if you're going to play it, just play Russians. Russian bias is strong.
What a funny thing to say with this political climate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, Patrick, what was the clock at for Bad Blizzard articles? Like, how many weeks did we go without those?
Weeks.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was like the Doomsday Clock, where it's just how close it gets to midnight. But unfortunately, in Blizzard's case, it's like 5 or 10 past.
Then what happens?
so-
That's right, makes sense actually.
Yeah, we've got 2 of them this week.
Yeah, no, not looking good. Daylight savings might give us another hour or two back. We gotta wait for that. But so the first of two, the first of the 1-2 punch, if you will. So here we have a guy. He's an ordinary guy, just like you or me. Not Josh. Josh is kind of weird, but
don't sound insulted. You know it's true.
I know it's true.
He's a good guy, also unlike Josh, where he had the option of either, it wasn't even the option. He was basically told, stack rank all your employees and give the bottom X% a bad review because we need to reduce costs.
So, Patrick, can you explain what stack ranking is for those who may not know what that is?
Sure. So what you would do, you can do this at home. It's a real simple thing. So
some
take out a
MySpace
sheet
top
of paper,
friends list is all it is.
or yeah, kind of similar. So you either take out a sheet of paper and a pen if you have that handy, or you could just do this on, I don't know, your phone or anything, any way you can write, basically. And so what you want to do is you want to get it centered, center the where you're going to type, and you want to put it into a nice title font, and you want to call it stack rank of Fast Travel Lounge hosts.
Oh,
and then you're going to get a numbered list.
Jesus.
And it's real simple. You just put number 1, Patrick, and then it doesn't matter what the rest are, because if Fast Travel Lounge had to reduce costs, we'd just cut the other 3. And that's basically what stack rank is. You order them by some arbitrary criteria. More seriously, stack ranking is just ordering things on a set of criteria. It's a common thing in tech to do it with, like, in tech, it's common and a shitty practice of stack ranking employees on performance. And you might say, but Patrick, how can you compare 2 people on performance if they do different things? Good question. You can't. But it doesn't stop people trying.
And, like, this story, so basically the full story is that he quit because he didn't want to stack rank his employees because he said they're all doing a good job. Like, why should other people be punished because they're doing, whatever they're actually doing as a job and they're doing a good job just because you guys want to cut costs or you want to fire employees, whatever. All of this is happening at the same time where companies, all tech companies across the globe, are dropping tens of thousands of employees at a time. So, like, Blizzard's losing employees. Actually, pretty much the only company that isn't, I think, is Apple. Like, Google just fired a whole bunch of people or laid them off. What was it? Another 10 or 20,000 from Microsoft this week as well.
Yeah, 10,000 from Microsoft.
Like, it's just a huge amount of all this tech stuff. So Blizzard's basically being like, all right, we want you to stack rank your employees so we know who to cut. And he's like, all my employees are good. That's why they have their job.
And it's worth noting too that he so this story came out because other people found out about this. He didn't publish, like, he didn't want there to be any bad blood. He said that he would want to come back and work with Blizzard if they would let him in different circumstances later on. There's no issue between him and Blizzard. He just couldn't do this to the people working for him, and so people found out about this, and then he came out and said, yes, I didn't want this to be on the news, but it's happened, so here's my side of the story.
Yeah.
So
I want to add on to that, like, good old Randall Weems of the gaming journalism space, Jason Trier. He's the one that broke the news, and he's like, oh no, I reached out to him, but he never got back to me, so I just published it anyway. It's like
kind of shitty, but anyway.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yes, he can. It's like technically he can. It's morally bankrupt, and he could have at least censored out the name of the person that was fired to not make it a big deal.
Did he not even do that? I didn't even realize.
No, he just full on published that it was Brian Birmingham.
Yeah, okay. I thought he came out and said, like, yeah, like, this is the case. But, like, I didn't think he was, like, naming and shaming. I thought he stood up and said, this is why I left, blah, 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 blah. This is the story. I didn't realize he literally named and, not even shamed, just straight up naming him for no reason. It's just weird.
Yeah. And the way he tried to reach out to Brian was by messaging him on LinkedIn.
While the dude currently isn't working, like, are you for real? Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, so good old Randall Weems. Hate that guy. Still got me blocked.
Oh, so this is personal for you, man.
Yeah, it definitely is.
This is a conflict of interest moment that you should have said before you started talking, man.
Hey, if he can be morally bankrupt, so can I.
So Saif doesn't even give a shit about the Blizzard employees. He just wants to get one back.
Yeah. let me have the boxing match with Jason Schreier.
Right.
Mm.
I've got Jake Paul. You've got Jason Schreier.
I've got
Let's
Josh.
go. Speaking of bad blood, though, do you want to go into the other Blizzard article? Because that one's a
they're talking
doozy.
about Taylor Swift.
No.
Yeah, although Josh, as one of the resident WoW players, you want to take us on this magical journey?
Sure. Okay, so to start with, I guess Blizzard has, due to
It all started when I was born.
no, Blizzard has had issues publishing games in China.
Neither of my parents showed up to the birth.
Man, how good was Phineas and
That's
Ferb?
Doofenshmirtz, isn't it? Yeah. Oh man, holy shit!
Anyway, Blizzard has had issues publishing games in China, and for a very, very long time, 14 years apparently, according to this article, they've used a company called NetEase to publish their games in China so that they can host their servers, do blah, 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 due to the Great Firewall of China and all that, political area. And basically, NetEase has been fine publishing. It's a big contract for them. Out the front of the actual place for NetEase in China, there's a big statue of Gorehao, which is the axe that Grommash Hellscream used in WoW and in Warcraft. And it's like a massive, big icon, right, in the world. And over time, NetEase has been like, okay, I'm really happy with this. It's a really good thing for us. We make a lot of money, but also it really brings us to the forefront. So we make a lot of other deals too. And they've come out and said, basically, we were happy to keep publishing Blizzard games. And Blizzard said, no, they asked for more money. And NetEase said, no, we didn't. And then their deal has ended, and all of Blizzard's games right now are not accessible in China. They've been completely pulled. So WoW servers are down, Diablo's down, etc., etc., etc. And the statue of Gorehao that's out the front has been smashed into rubble by the employees of NetEase and posted on TikTok.
NetEase is being that X.
They are literally being the most toxic thing I've ever seen a company do. And it's
so
wild.
fascinating to see.
It's so interesting, which is like not only did they do that, but they basically posted, I can't remember the exact wording of it, but there were something along the lines of like, it's like, this isn't right, it's not fair, Blizzard's treated us horribly, and then just absolutely just ripped into them and was like being like, basically like a scorned teenage girl. And it was wild.
They said something along the lines of, this is what one asshole can produce, like one bad egg at Blizzard kind of just ruined the entire deal.
Yeah. And it's like, it was crazy, and they were posting stuff with like tea icons and stuff, and like translations were like drink the green tea or whatever, like this is the tea of the situation. Just
wild. So what that is at the end of the stream they were drinking Blizzard green tea, and apparently in China green tea is like for two-faced people, like they present as pure, but on the inside they're devious and greedy and a bitch.
Yeah, which is
so they're basically calling Blizzard two-faced.
It's just funny, and like the fact that Blizzard right now, with all of the stuff they're going through, can't even continue a relationship they've had for 14 years. Even under even as like a temporary thing, like not even like another 6 months to keep like WoW running in China.
So apparently, so it's not in this article. This is just hearsay that I've heard. Apparently what Blizzard wanted to do was continue this for another 6 months.
Yeah, they wanted but NetEase was just like,
so
no.
that at the end of it, they could shift it over to a different company.
Yeah.
They could shift all their Chinese relations to another company and have all the servers run through them and just cut ties with NetEase after that 6-month extension.
Yeah.
And NetEase was like, you know what? No, fuck that.
Yeah, they're like, basically, it was like a very China to Western companies kind of thing as well. It was like, if we can't do it and you're not happy with that relationship, you stop using China. It was like a statement almost, which is interesting. Like it's very, very interesting, especially when you consider all of the game restrictions that are going on in China right now. It's
and a lot of people just can't access the game now and like have to do anything besides play Blizzard games. It's amazing that after the whole Blitzchung incident that this is happening to Blizzard.
Yeah.
Like they went to bat for China and now they're just cut out of that country entirely.
And Blizzard games in general, especially World of Warcraft, are massive in China. Absolutely massive. So it's a huge loss for them. It'll cost a huge amount of their revenue, which is probably not what you want. Although it might actually help Microsoft's acquisition.
They need help now, yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah.
I think it might actually hurt the
I
acquisition.
don't think it would. I think it'll help it.
Well,
Like,
not hurt the acquisition, but it's
if
like
it drops their
Microsoft
revenue.
paid for the China market that Blizzard had, and now they're not getting that.
That's
so
true.
Microsoft is paying more for less now.
Microsoft in general has extremely good relationships in China, though. So it wouldn't surprise me if when Microsoft took over, they said, ignore everything, drop this. NetEase, we want to work with you, or let's find another company that wants to work with Microsoft, not with Blizzard. And then, we'll just host our Blizzard stuff on Microsoft servers in China, which they honestly probably could do anyway because they have Chinese data centers. So it's, yeah, you never know.
Neat.
Yeah.
Well, not neat, but unlucky.
Neat or not neat, you decide.
Either way,
Definitely not
rip.
neat,
Do you want me to put on my tinfoil hat for a moment?
Yes.
Just one last
Does that
statement
mean-
on this article because
Fine,
because
but you have to wrench it off of Steve's head first.
all right,
Mine's
Steven,
part
get
of my
over here.
skin. Oh, mine's part of my, just like that guy's wife.
Wow.
So the last little tinfoil hat thing I want to mention is that because the acquisition was brought up, do you think that Blizzard kind of like let this die out because they thought they would have been acquired by Microsoft by now, and they kind of panicked, wanted to do a 6-month extension, hoping that in 6 months the entire acquisition would finally happen?
Absolutely not. I don't think they could afford the bottom line to WoW at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that is so big brain that I think if they did that, as dumb as we think Bobby Kotick is, not even he is that stupid, surely.
Yeah, I don't think they
know
could
Bobby
do it.
Kotick is kind of the base one of the entire diversity scale.
Like,
That is true.
Dragonflight's doing well, the latest expansion for WoW, comparatively to other expansions, but it is still not doing anywhere near what old expansions used to do. And for them to cut out a very, very, very substantial player base, and not even like, so China actually had their own worlds in World of Warcraft where they would have certain things and they had different events and you could only access China servers from within China. They literally dropped basically an entire division of World of Warcraft and half their player base in an entire world and everything they've built up for this, which is crazy.
Not just being able to connect from within China, because thanks to today's sponsor, NordVPN.
Are we legally allowed to say
No,
that?
probably not.
Definitely not.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just, I don't think they could honestly afford to put the bottom line to WoW, to be honest, to drop that.
No, probably not. Cool, good to move on though?
Good to move on. We're at big Xbox land now. Steve, go put money in Xbox stocks right now so you can be excited.
Realistically, I probably
It's
should.
time for the children to return to the mines. Saddle up, kids.
Craft.
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Watch as...
Let's start from the top. So when was it? It was on Thursday. Microsoft, 7 a.m. Australian Eastern time, did what they called a developer direct, and pretty much they've been advertising it for about a week, and it's like, oh yeah, we're pretty much going to talk about Minecraft, Forza, Elder Scrolls Online, and Redfall, and that was pretty much all they said.
And
they were gonna
something
talk
from
about it.
Tango. They didn't specify, but they said it was something from Tango, and a lot of people thought it was going to be a port of what was that game that just came out as a PS5 exclusive like half a year ago? Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
So it was pretty much like, don't fucking ask for Starfield. We're not showing you Starfield. Fuck off.
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
didn't show us
I think
anything
the exact words were Starfield will have its own developer direct at a later time.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty funny because they're taking a direct like Nintendo Direct. Like, I'm literally just fucking copying Nintendo now. So essentially, do you guys care about the Elder Scrolls Online because they're doing a new expansion for that?
I think there was something
Nope.
interesting in that about like a free thing with the old expansions.
Yeah, so the base game and all the expansions except for like the last two or something are now free to play. Like as like a demo type of thing, not like a
Last
going
of
to
Us.
play.
Do we know how long of a playtime you have for that demo?
A very, very
No,
like,
I do
it's
not.
unlimited playtime, I believe, and you're spanning like 6 expansions. So
Yeah,
it's kind
it's
of
a lot.
nuts.
my understanding is like they're free for now, and then maybe in a month or two they'll just take it away and be like, yeah, pay money if you want to keep playing.
They're all on Game Pass regardless, though. And honestly, to buy all of the expansions and the base game, except for the new one they've just announced, was like $17 or $18 the other day. Like, it's not a very expensive game.
Is it a very good game though?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, maybe I was, what was I, 20, whenever this game came out, 2015, I think I was in that weird period of time where I had too much money and I got sucked to the hype of this game, and I bought the Steelbox edition for like 110, got home, played it, and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I thought it'd be, like a Skyrim MMO.
Why do you keep doing this with Bethesda games?
I don't know why. And then
it's his kryptonite.
Still chasing that Fallout 3 high.
Yeah, really chasing that. I just couldn't really get into it. I think I expected more of like a Skyrim world, but with MMO elements, but it's literally Skyrim had sex with MMO, and this is what they give out.
In saying that, it's much more story focused now, and you play like basically a single player game from what I hear.
Yeah, apparently all the MMO stuff that I hated
is pretty much gone.
Honed it back.
Yeah.
And all the expansions have sort of like shaved away the edges, but at the same time you still can play it with friends.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yep. The Elder Scrolls Necrom is its new thing, and they're doing a 5th player class or whatever it is. It's coming out in June, so that was that. They talked about Minecraft Legends, which is the sort of weird. I think they called it.
It's a real-time strategy game, is what it is.
Real-time strategy. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And that comes out on April the 18th. They showed up.
That looks cute and neat, but I don't know if I'd play it.
It looks cute and neat, and then they're like PvP, and I went, fuck it right off. I know I don't want anything to do with it. See you later. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the PvP element is the part that I thought might make it fun.
No.
Well, I think they're walking that line of you can play like this game like cooperative with your friends and versus your other friends, or you can just verse your friends. It's a very fine line between what people want out of a strategy game versus what the Minecraft audience wants. And I think this might come down to just like Minecraft Dungeons did, and how it was baby's first top-down action RPG or whatever they're called. This might be
baby's first
RTS.
Yeah.
RTS.
That's exactly what it looks like too.
And that's exactly, it looks like it'll probably be one of those things that, once again, Game Pass bros, we cannot stop winning. But if you have it on Game Pass, you pick it up. Well, okay, that was fun. I'm glad I didn't pay for this, even though you're paying for Game Pass. But let's not get into that.
Yeah.
So from what I saw, it definitely does sort of seem like they've taken what they could. They begged, borrowed, and stole from Minecraft and merged it into a strategy game. Will it be good?
It doesn't look like a terrible game, but it definitely doesn't.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look bad.
It doesn't look like a game that most people I know would like, but it looks like a game that would be really popular with like the sort of mid-teens crowd, to be honest.
Yeah, to me, it looks like something that would be fun to mess around in for like an hour or two, and then
you build your own base, take down your mate's base, and be like, all right, that was fun, let's never do that again.
Yeah.
And that's probably where the fun will come out of this. And I think I saw a comment on one of the on a Facebook post about this, and someone was saying, oh yeah, this looks like baby Minecraft. Because like the art style is trying to capture all the cubism from Minecraft, that put a lot more stuff onto the map and you can interact with it a lot more different ways. I think it will be interesting to sort of see how it goes. I can't really say whether it'll be a popular game or not. It definitely seems like it'll go the way of Minecraft Dungeons, and
it'll on day one Game Pass, it will do very good.
It will do very well. But for some reason, Minecraft Dungeons, they released a lot more content updates for those. And
no one played the content, I don't think.
Yeah.
I played the actual game, finished it in a day, and was like, all right, I'm not going to do that again. It was all right.
Yeah. So then they talked about, so after Minecraft Legends, they spoke about Forza Motorsport.
The highlight.
It looks like a Forza game.
It does.
It looks like a Forza game. I like the dirt details.
Yeah, I'll probably pass this on to you guys because simulation racing games are lost on me.
Yeah, this is more Patrick and Josh's avenue.
Yeah.
I'm so keen for this game. Do you want to talk about it, Patrick? Or?
I've never really been big on
motorsport.
Motorsport.
My God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Simulation racing, it's fine for a bit, but I Like I've played the PS5 Gran Turismo, and it's fun for a
PS5
bit.
Gran
But I
Turismo is
wouldn't buy
probably
it
the worst
myself.
Gran Turismo they've released, to be honest, which is a shame.
Fine, but
You have not played the PS3 Gran Turismos, have you?
I've played 5 was on the 3, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
I played 5. 5 was good.
I wasn't really big on 5.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Forza.
Basically, I've realized that I enjoyed the arcadey side of racing much more.
I'm much more the opposite.
So take it away, Josh.
Well, Forza Motorsport is, if you're familiar with like Forza Horizon, then Motorsport is obviously the sim racing, like we were just saying. And they've basically come out and said this is pretty much our biggest game yet. Like it's going to be bigger than the last like 3 games combined, which is pretty nuts. Over 500 cars, they said, which was just nuts. The details, like you said, on the dirt stuff is really cool. I don't think it really matters too much, but graphically it looks really nice. Basically, all the low pressure areas where dirt would naturally gather, they gathered it. They took like actual like samples of cars in with like fresh paint in light, and then sampled that, and then they're doing all the lighting effects, blah 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 blah. I'm more excited to just talk about the actual racing, which is like we haven't had a.
Before you get on that, I got a question.
Yeah,
They're saying it's like the biggest game, and I think the number of tracks they mentioned was 20. How is?
well,
is that
they said it was.
Is that how?
It was in terms of the physics simulation.
Yeah, physics simulations. But like for number of race tracks, I feel like 20 might be not low end, but it also doesn't feel like a lot for a racing game. And I might be coming at this from like a weird angle and probably very wrong about that.
I don't think they said 20. Because that can't be right.
I think
because
I saw somewhere.
Forza 7 has
they mentioned
120.
20.
So
Was it really? Holy shit! That's like a million racetracks. But then
It could be like 20 locations.
That's
and
like a million racetracks. Steve, 2023.
no, it's
It
No,
could
so
be 20
it's-
locations, and the racetrack is different depending on like the different types of tracks available in that area.
So from the article generously provided to us from Gematsu, Forza Motorsport will start with 20 environments featuring multiple track layouts for players to master.
Okay, it was
Whatever the
environments.
fuck
Yeah.
that means, 20 environments. I'm assuming it's like what, sunny, rainy, windy.
No,
locations,
it's just
locations.
So Forza 7, I said it had 120 tracks, but there's 120 tracks, but some of those are reverse tracks, some of those are test tracks, some of those are,
Yeah.
whatever.
Rain track.
Yeah, well, not rain tracks, that's just a weather condition. But like, yeah, there's just a whole bunch of different things, and they are on a similar number of tracks. I don't remember how many unique tracks there are in 7. I think it's like 40 something. I think I've been a long time since I played it because they ripped it off the store. But anyway, yeah,
That's another question. How long do you think it'll be before they rip this one off the
I
store?
don't think they will.
1 year. Things that last beyond 1 year are becoming more and more rare.
I don't know.
If they want to treat this one as a live service game, it'll last at least 3.
I think it'll last at least
Then
3.
again, no, wait. This isn't a Square Enix game, so it'll definitely last more than 1 year.
So Forza
That one's ball moment.
2, 3, 4.
Chocobo racing moment.
Oh, true. Oh, they've got a list of all the cards. Some of the cards. Yeah, they posted like a FAQ type of
So there were
thing.
34 full tracks, not including reverse tracks, blah 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 blah, in Forza Motorsport 7, and they showed off.
That sounds more up to speed of like what I expect from a racing game.
Yeah, and they showed off 2 tracks, I think it was, that weren't in the last Forza in this one, that they said they were bringing in for the first time. So like, let's assume 36.
There was one they said, and then they shielded the one in South Africa for like fucking
10 minutes.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
But like,
Yeah, I was like, okay.
it does look very good though. Like pretty much the entire my main problem with this is that everything they showed was like, look how detailed it looks and look how detailed it sounds, which that's really cool, but please show me gameplay. I just wanted to see
What do you mean? You
racing.
drive a car around a
I
circle.
know, but like, oh man, come on, like just give me more. Like give me something to be really
You go
excited
really fast,
about.
and then you turn left, and then you turn left, and then you go straight, and then you.
This
and
is why
turn
you don't
left
like
again.
sim
I kind of
races.
feel like with simulation races, you kind of know what to expect from the racing. It's all the new shiny details and features and how are we making it more realistically simulated than the last game that's supposed to get you on edge and excited about it.
I agree and I don't. So for Gran Turismo, when they showed off Gran Turismo 7, for example, for like the PS5, they were saying, hey, here's the weather conditions, here's the skybox, this is why it's going to be so cool, and here's how it affects your actual track when you're driving your car. Your tires have to warm up. We got like actual realistic stuff on how long it should take. We've taken samples from cars, blah, 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 blah. Like actual stuff that affects your racing, which is just super cool. And Forza very vaguely mentioned it and then just skipped over it entirely. So, like, I want to see more stuff.
That's kind of like the 50-50 between what we're talking about. Like, the Gran Turismo method is like in the middle where it's like, here's the simulation stuff and how it affects the gameplay.
Yeah, and Forza just went, here's all the pretty stuff, which is, like, Forza is a gorgeous looking game on its worst day. So, like, everything in this looks amazing. And the fact that it's going to be running on even the Series S is, like, pretty incredible, to be honest. Like,
I want to see, I can't wait for the Digital Foundry comparison between them, because I watched the one for Gran Turismo, Gran Turismo 7, and like the little things that they do, like cutting back on the number of trees in the environment and stuff, just it sounds stupid, but it fascinates me how they compare like different versions of the game.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting as well. The one thing that the Forza mentioned that's going to be really like interesting to me is they completely redid the physics from the ground up, like what I was saying, that's going to be greater apparently than 5, 6, and 7 combined. So if they've done a really good job on that, then the gameplay should feel different enough to make it really cool as well. Plus, they've obviously added in a whole bunch of new cars and the new track. But I am super, super, super excited for this game, and the moment I can pre-order it, I will. Anyway,
I should go play Gran Turismo 7 so that way when this comes out, I can compare them both.
I need to play more of it, especially now that they've reworked how all the reward system and everything's work. So that now it's apparently a pretty okay game. I need to go give it another try.
Yeah, I know there was a big outcry, but I also know people that were like, no, this is fun. I just did a couple of races and I can afford a car.
Yeah, but the problem is once you buy the cheap cars, then it's like, oh, a couple races becomes like hundreds of hours to get like cars that you wanted, which was too much.
The main problem was when they did that update that nerfed
and they nerfed it, yeah.
And then they got so much pushback. It was like, okay, we've restored it
and made it better. Which was when I started playing it. That was when I picked up my PS5 and they just nerfed it and I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. And I haven't touched it since. So I need to pick it back up. Anyway, that's Forza.
And now it's the game that I think is the highlight.
Well, this is the surprise drop that we alluded to at the start. It's the collaboration between Tango Gameworks and Bethesda Software that it gave us Ghostwire
I think
Tokyo.
Bethesda owns Tango.
Oh, I thought it was a collaboration. Okay, never mind.
Do they really?
Yeah, no, they've published all of Tango's games. I'm pretty sure they just outright own that studio. Oh. Yeah, the people that made The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2 have, which are both...
Oh yeah, it is. It's a subsidiary of ZeniMax Media, so soon to be Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah, so the people that made The Evil Within, a survival horror game, have decided they're going to make a mixture of rhythm and character action style action game, and it looks really fantastic. I haven't gone around to it yet because, like I said, I've been moving this week. This stealth drops the day of the directs as I was moving, and I've been itching to play this. I'm going to go out of my way to buy it because it looks that fantastic. I'm not just going to Game Pass it.
But you can play it on Game Pass as a demo and then buy it if you like it. You might hate the game.
I've seen enough to know that I'm going to absolutely enjoy this game, and it's a cheap release. It's not a full price release. It's $45 Australian.
45 Australian buckaroonies.
You could buy Tunic for that, though.
I could. What if I bought both of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could buy half of Forspoken for that.
But yeah,
you couldn't. Forspoken's like 125.
Yeah, no, you couldn't actually. That's 110,
110?
115.
125. I don't know. It's way too expensive either way.
Probably 125 with the EB Games tax.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So there's this stealth dropped, which is very surprising this day and age. Usually, Nintendo is pretty much the only people that do this these days. I'll do one of those directs.
And if
it's coming out. It's out now. It'll be out next week.
If it's not a Nintendo game doing that, it's usually a stealth drop of a demo.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing, is that the stealth drop isn't even intentional. It's just because someone forgot.
Or someone pre-ordered it and then they delayed the game and then it's still downloaded to their Switch anyway. Give me Advance Wars, Nintendo. Fuck you.
it's not coming out. But I, as someone who literally hates the fucking hype train of that and the development cycle of video games, that it's like, yeah, cool, we'll release something. They'll announce a game like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus or whatever they were talking about before. It was announced in 2016 and it's still not out yet. What's the fucking point?
Yeah, no,
I
it's
can
definitely
understand
games
you
that are
wanna
like
market
too
it.
far ahead.
Yeah, I do
done.
understand you want to market it and have that sort of lead up and excitement for it. But just shadow drop the game, everybody go play it. And from what I understand, everybody's fucking loving this game. Like it's
What's funny to me is
Yeah, no, everyone that I follow on Twitch picked up this game and streamed it the day it came out. Like the moment it was available, everyone jumped on Twitch and started streaming this. And from what I've seen, everyone absolutely adores this game. It's such a weird mix of you wouldn't expect a rhythm game to lean itself well into an action game, because action games usually have a lot of like mashing to get certain attacks out, or a lot of freeform actions per minute in some cases. Like you can really work out your controller and get a lot of like really stylish things going. While this is more, hey, take a little bit of time, match the rhythm of the game soundtrack. All the animations like tune themselves to run up with the beat of the songs in the background. So the character's walk cycle will actually like shift to go slower or faster so that the footsteps hit on the beat. Your first attack in a combo, if you press it off beat, the actual landing of attack will line up with the beat so that the combo will go with the beat properly. It's a lot of things were done to like keep it into a rhythm game sort of style.
There's a lot of games that, well, not a lot of games, but there's a number of games that do very similar things. And I've played a couple of them, and honestly, all of them play really well. Like, they're just a fun game to play. Like, once you get into the rhythm of things, like, no pun intended, they're really, really fun. So I've got it downloaded, but I'm going to give it a go.
And it's usually things that are like platformers or something. Like platformers will have platforms move with the beat of the music, or you've got
Crypt of the Necro
Crypt of the Necro Dancer, which is like a dungeon crawler a little bit.
There's a game called Bullets Per Minute, which is BPM, and that was that was a shooter.
And there's one other game in this particular style that Hi-Fi Rush is doing, in that it was oh god, I'm actually forgetting the name. I mentioned it on our chats a while ago. Jet Set Radio.
While you're trying to think of it. While you're trying to think of it, I just looked it up because this game looks fairly interesting to me as well. Not that I'd buy it immediately, but I'm keeping more of an eye on it. But similar to games that I currently have or have played, Geometry Dash makes sense. It's a rhythm game like the Impossible game. The other one that Steam is saying is similar, Nier Automata.
What?
Interesting.
I mean, it is an action game like that.
It's an anime art style.
No, I know, but it's... Yeah, it's just kind of interesting that, because I own Crypt of the Necro Dancer, I own all these other sorts of rhythm games, and Steam's like, no.
Nier Automata. Yeah. Interesting. What was funny about this in the trailer for me was it was like, make it from the Evil Within brackets, really, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then they were like, and Evil Within 2. I'm like, isn't that kind of just redundant at this point?
And they also have it in the brackets that it is a redundant point.
Redundant point, yeah.
The one thing I want to say actually as well is that the dialogue and the way that the trailer is cut is like really bad and quippy, and literally starts off with a record scratch. So this is me. This is how I got into this situation kind of setup, and it's awful. But then actually getting into the game, it's nothing like that. It's just kind of like pure charm and what's the word I'm looking for? Like not cringe, but that's sort of like
awkward. It's cringe.
It just reminds me of Scott Pilgrim. It's all it reminds me of.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I can see
Scott
that.
Pilgrim and like 2000s to 2010s Cartoon Network shows.
Yeah. Which is definitely sort of the vibe they were going for, I think. Which is really cool. They also have a streamer mode, which is good. But so you said you watch a lot of the streamers, but the songs in the non-streamer mode, every single one of these I know, and every single one of these slap. So I'm really looking forward to it. So there's 9 Inch Nails, there's 2 9 Inch Nails songs, Black Keys, Prodigy, The Joy Formidable, Number Girl, Wolfgang Gartner for Wolfgang's Fifth Symphony, and Swan, honestly, which is like, that's a weird mix of songs to start with, but every single one of them slaps, so I'm kind of keen. I've heard really good things about the Nine Inch Nails intro song too, so I'm pretty keen to play it.
No Straight Roads was the game I was thinking of. It's a very similar like rhythm action game based around music, but it's more of an indie style game, so it doesn't have as much of a budget. But it still also looks like a fantastic game that I need to try out at some point.
Yeah, this looks so good though.
And that's it. That was the Xbox Developer Direct. I hope they do.
No, there was Redfall.
Oh, I don't really care about it. It just seems like Left 4 Dead.
I'm kind of keen for Redfall. I'm not like sold on it, but it looks pretty good.
They spent too long on Redfall. It felt like they spent like 20 minutes on this.
They spent way too long on Elder Scrolls Online just to go back to it again at the end for like another hour. No, Redfall looks okay. So if you're not familiar with Redfall, it's like a Left 4 Dead style game, but in an open world rather than in levels that you run through. And you're...
Oh, yeah, that's what the game did.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I can't see it being bad. Like, if it's an open world, you run through, like, you do a mission, you run through the areas, and then you go back into the open world to run to the next mission area, and you have your objectives, and there was a whole bunch of, like, you know, collectible different weapons, blah, blah, blah. I think it showed that looked pretty good. Or, like, ways to skill up and modify your weapons, I think it might have been, actually. I can see it being
be fine, but I think this style of game works better in the Left 4 Dead level by level style.
I don't know.
I think because it's doing... I think Left 4 Dead had a really good formula going with the formulaic approach to like a linear level with putting a lot of detail into particular levels that you play and replay.
If this game has a crafting system, it's automatically losing 2 points.
Doing an open world to me was done as a good formula by Dying Light, which also had good multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really in two minds about it. Like the actual idea and concept and gameplay look fun to me, but the actual characters and world setting looks cringe. So I'm kind of torn. Like I can see it being like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it'll be amazing, but I think it'll be really fun to play with a group of friends.
It'll be a perfect game for
like
Game Pass.
Yeah, it'll be a perfect game for Game Pass where honestly, even for like $40-$50, I would still probably pick it up and give it a proper go. But
I like how I'm saying that with a tinge of irony, and then Josh just takes it up with sincerity.
No, it is though. Like it's a game that I'll pick. It's exactly like Back 4 Blood, where I'll pick it up and go, yeah, this was really fun. All right, I've done it all now. I don't want to touch it again. And that's exactly what it's going to be. Whereas Left 4 Dead had a good enough core gameplay loop, and the levels were intricate and interesting enough, like you said, that you could replay that with friends. Nothing's really hit that mark. So if they're going to do like an open world story-based driven kind of thing, then I'm fine with it. Like, I'll give it a go. Anyway, yeah, that's Redfall.
Yeah, neat. That was it.
That's it. That's everything.
Oh, do we also want to cap this off? Like this whole Xbox journey with what's been added to Game Pass?
Might as well.
Do we really need to?
There's a couple of games worth mentioning.
Yeah, there's all the games worth mentioning. So there's the GoldenEye 007 game came out yesterday, I believe.
Yep, on Xbox
one of the greatest
and Switch.
FPSs ever made.
Yeah, it probably does not hold up. There's a game called RoboQuest.
Sounds like someone that got killed by Oddjob one too many times.
I don't know what that is. I didn't play that game. So Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition, is coming to Xbox.
What a great game.
Like for controller support, which is interesting because it's been on PC for the longest time. There's Inculunati, never heard of that game, blah, blah, blah. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, All-Star Battle R. Mwah,
the remake of a fighting game that they decided they were going to add a season pass onto.
Yep, but that's what it is.
Oh, actually, there is a Game Pass story I wanted to add in here, like real quick. Like, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people like kind of talk about this in bad faith, but I kind of think this is a fine idea. Apparently, what they're going to want to do now is offer buying the DLC packs for games that are on Game Pass. So, Redfall has like a season, like a deluxe edition. So instead of paying like, I think it's like $90 for the game and the deluxe perks, you just pay $30 US, and if you have Game Pass, you get the base game, and then that $30 gives you all of the deluxe edition stuff.
Pretty sure that's
on top
already
of
a
it.
thing. I'm pretty sure you can do that on PC at least already.
Yeah, I've
really
seen
sure.
it pop up like it was a new thing, so
No, because
I'm not
bought
100%
DLC
sure on
for
that,
games
but
before.
it's
Forza,
yeah,
I think
but
it was.
It just seems like a fine thing to do. Where it's like, no, if you have Game Pass and this game is coming out for it, you can. I think it's like a pre-order thing. Like you could buy a DLC if the game was already out, but now it's like if you want this game, but you're not going to buy the whole game, you're just going to play it through Game Pass. Here's the deluxe edition key as a pre-order.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that I bought the Forza. No, I know for a fact I bought Forza Horizon 5 DLC without buying Forza Horizon 5. So it's definitely a thing, but yeah, maybe they've changed something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but like the whole concept is a bit weird to me because you'll lose the access to, you lose the base game to access the DLC. So it's kind of like a should they refund it?
If you don't have Game Pass anymore, you're losing access to something you paid for.
Well, not even if you don't have Game Pass anymore. That's not the biggest problem for me, because if you're not having Game Pass, it's your decision. But if they remove a title from Game Pass and you have DLC for that, it's kind of in bad faith almost.
You're right. It is.
That is a weird ground to stand on. But also, this is a Microsoft game, so I don't think it ever get taken off Game Pass.
No, but it's like for other things, like
yeah,
like who knows. Hot Wheels, for example, is being added. I'm sure there'll be a lot more DLC for that. So if you bought DLC for that game and then they removed that from Game Pass, you'd be pretty shitty. Anyway, the only other game they're adding Grid Legends to cloud and Darkest Dungeon, which is an upcoming game that looks quite good actually, coming to cloud, console, and PC.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other games as well. But yeah, that's it. Game Pass Bros, we're winning. I think that's it. That takes us to the end of the news.
That's it.
I can't think of a good segue, Pat, so that I'll leave that in your very capable hands.
Great. Well, that's no pressure. Hopefully, no one has any questions about how good I am at segues because we have a question for the audience to answer. Boom, nailed it. Don't worry about it. A question that I think this was Saif's idea.
Yeah. I'll take credit for it.
Cool. You didn't put a funny name at the end of it, though, so am I just reading this and just doxing your full name, or?
Hold on.
You're going to bring back Room Giant, aren't you?
There.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
I don't want to read that
in
one.
good conscience say that.
Right, you have to do it then, Pat.
There.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Right. So, Saif's audience question, or question for the audience. Damn, it's actually an interesting title. Basically, it's a new year. It's kind of a new season. If you're keeping track, don't. But we want to know what sort of content do you want to see? This definitely isn't a let's see who's alive out there and how many people actually listen to this.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Definitely
or
do those
leave a
things.
comment on the Spotify comments because I'll add this question down there as well. So I can manually do that.
Spotify comments? There's Spotify comments?
Yeah, it's a new part of the podcasting
wild.
platform.
Never even heard of it. Man,
Never heard of Spotify. Wow.
you know they got the internet on computers now?
Anyway,
Have you heard
Roger,
of
the
AOL?
Anyway, Roger the wife beater rabbit asks.
Oh, that's the other part was what you had a problem with. You were fine with the middle. It was just the first and last words that were a problem.
Yeah, I vomited a little in my mouth when I thought about saying those together. Question for the audience: what other type of sci content would you like to see from us? Would you like to see us play some party games, online card games, or do more movie and TV or anime? Well, it can't be anime; that should be banned.
Wow.
Focused podcast episodes. Let us know in the comment section. Thanks, Roger.
Do you want
Rabbit.
to see Patrick
let us
jump
know.
into a Monster Hunter top tier and then go in naked and try and win? Let us know.
I reckon we can do a hot tub Mario Party.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like a review thing, because I would absolutely sit here naked, just unhinged, ranting into a microphone for 10 hours.
You know what? Just because Patrick hates it so much, I think we should force him to do a Chainsaw Man podcast.
I don't think we should do that at all.
I don't think we should do that.
That's a crazy good idea, Seth.
Man, Chainsaw Man was crazy good this week. Want to talk about
How
those
good?
20 chapters of the manga that came out?
Absolutely not.
I mean, 20 pages of the chapter.
You guys going to say 20
don't
chapters?
care.
That's not happening at all.
We in fact skipped a week of the manga last week. It's been rough out here in these waters.
Come on, man.
I need to see Asa be the worst fail woman ever.
All right, wrap it up. We're just get out of here.
But yeah, no, do let us know. Obviously, this is an ever-changing format. We've had a couple of experiments with varying degrees of success, so it would be good to know what the folks want, and we, like the free market, will provide it. But off of the back of that takes us to the end of episode 57. Probably not worth trying to tease anything. I don't think there's anything immediate next week that people can look forward to.
I'm playing Fire Emblem. That's cool.
I'll do this.
Okay, they will not care about that.
I'll do the Sackboy thing since Steve asked so nicely.
I didn't ask.
I will attempt to play more
Show
of
us the
Sackboy. I will
And
never
I
play
will
more
try
Sackboy.
and stay away from King Triton and Atlantis. Anyway, this takes us to the end of episode 57 for the Fast Travel Lounge. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Patrick, and I've been joined by Saif, Steve, and Josh, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday to that guy's wife.
God damn it.